Day.
Day in center field. And it's all over. The final score, 18-12. And congratulations to the Eagles of CoppinState University. Coach ShermanReed in his 11th season. And they head to the postseason for the NCAA.
Folks, hello everybody. Welcome to the Sports Talk here with Chris Heidel, the day after Memorial Day. Hope you guys are enjoying your day after all the feast, all the food, and everything you guys probably had yesterday. Whoever had food yesterday. I'm Chris Heidel. That's George Bashir in our good old South Bend office, and that's Aaron Mize down there in our Greenville. Or where are you? In North Carolina, right? Are you
Waynesville, North Carolina, about half an hour west of Asheville.
Okay,
in the Smoky Mountains.
Okay. And that guy right there is our good old friend Steve Zulich, and Adam could be mayor of Portland. We're going to work on that again.
Yeah, it's called.
We should have a campaign, George. We were like, got to keep it up last week with the.
yeah, it's called.
So we got a big show on the plan here. We're going to be on a little earlier tonight because it's regional baseball time because of the stuff with the NCAA tournament. We have CoppinState, who you just saw on the beginning of our show, made it to the regionals. They're down in Greenville, North Carolina, starting on Friday, taking on the East Carolina Pirates. So we'll have Coach ShermanReed with us at 7:40, talking to us about their trip down to Greenville, their first ever trip to the NCAA tournament. So it's going to be a very exciting day Friday, but you got to play a team that won 18 straight and basically blew out everybody in the American Athletic Conference over the weekend. They literally destroyed everybody. They beat Cincinnati one game 18-5. Yeah, so it was like, and these people, this East Carolina team has power. So I was watching some of their highlights last night. Busy weekend of sports there, George and Adam. Got to talk about first of all, let's talk about the Orioles. They went into Boston, and they actually took 4 out of 5 from the Boston Red Sox with an epic comeback on Friday night.
It was actually 3-2.
3-2? Okay, I thought it was 4 out of 5 because they played the 5-game series.
Yeah, but it was a 3-2 series win for the Orioles.
Okay, but they still won the series.
Yeah, they still won the series, but it was 3-2.
Yeah, so look at Rodour there with the beard. I'm glad he got his beard back. I'm sorry. If you get traded to the Yankees, you should not even shave your beard. I know they have like a dress code, but that's so 1970. It's like just let people have their beards. Goose Gossage had their beard. Leave them alone.
Yep.
So what's your take on that one, George? With the Orioles are actually played pretty well for being a young team.
And if they win tonight, they'll be 15-15 in the month of May, so they'll be 500 for the month of May.
That's not bad.
If they win tonight.
The season's still young,
mm-hmm.
and everyone's talking about how great everyone's talking about how great the Yankees are and all this other stuff. But when push comes to shove, the season really kicks in at the All-Star break.
Oh yeah.
Anybody that can go up to Boston and beat the Red Sox, get the thumbs up in my book. Even if it is the Orioles.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Adam.
Thank you, Steve.
Adam, we're not picking on you right now, but
I know.
We're just talking facts here.
Yeah, that's true, George. That is true.
Yeah, not picking on you, but another team that you like called the Atlanta Braves, right?
Yeah.
Guess how many games are out of first place? Drum roll, please. 9.5 out of first place with the team
it's
called
still young, like you said, Chris.
Well,
right.
it's still a young season, but you got to start winning at some point.
Yeah, I think
we're 3 games under 500 after we swept the Marlins.
Probably. Yeah. So Mets had a big win Sunday night, beating Jared Welch's Philadelphia Phillies. Yeah, so you want to say goodbye to the Phillies, or that's too early? I think.
Yeah, you probably can say goodbye to the Phillies.
Yeah, goodbye, Phillies.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Folks, a little program note coming up in a couple minutes. Our good friend ChrisBarnes will be joining us. He's a busy guy, and I found some cool. Look at his slow-mo. I just like the way his delivery is. This is just watch it. I wish I could, we could stop frame and watch myself bowl. This is, if you have a young kid who wants to bowl, I think you should pick up what Chris Barnes does. He just bowls really smooth. Look at this smooth delivery. I sound like I'm Nelson Burton Jr. here.
Love it.
With the knee bend and everything's focused and look at this, all 10 pins in the pit. Yeehaw.
Yeah, I do that 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10.
I used to do that a lot, when I was bowling in league. But
knocking down 8 out of 10.
Yeah. But if you want to learn how to bowl real well, I think Chris Barnes is one of those people you should get to know really well, because you can teach your kid how to bowl. And the funny thing is, we're going to play a little bit later when he's on, his son looks a common copy of him, but his son bowls with 2 hands.
So the son's a 2-handed bowler.
So it's really
I've now got my official ruling on 2-handed bowling.
Yeah. And then real quick about over the weekend, another big news here in the Maryland metro area, the Maryland Terrapin men's lacrosse. I'm sorry, the only great sport in the state of Maryland, because besides if you're in Baltimore, with the Ravens play really well during the season, but a perfect season in lacrosse, that's really hard to do. I asked the folks at ESPN last week. I had a chance to talk to them on a Zoom call, and I said, is it tough to go undefeated in lacrosse? And they're like, well, it's done before. The last time was 2003. So, but it's tough. But the cool thing is Maryland has won 18 games in a row, and they're the first team that ever won 18. I guess they don't play 18 games, but I guess Maryland played 18 games this year.
Well, these sports folks, you just answer the question the way it's asked. Not going back and giving you a stat. Last time it was done was in 2003. You can say, is it difficult to do? Yes. The last time it was done is in 2003. That's the answer.
Yeah. I think it was done by the Virginia Cavaliers.
I think so. Yeah, I think it might be was. But it's like in college basketball. What was the last team that was undefeated? It got to be Duke, right? Duke was undefeated.
Indiana.
At Indiana in '76, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Duke was one of them. Or they came close and they lost in the championship game. We got to get the stat guy rolling up here.
Patriots.
Yeah. The stat guy. Yeah.
Patriots.
George, I got to say, your lawn is so green. I thought we were going to play some baseball on it the other day. It was so green looking. I was like, wow, that looks like a ball field. So what's your take, folks, over the weekend? What did you get from this Memorial Day weekend? What do you think was cool to see, and what was like one of those things you're like, I wish I never paid attention to that?
Well, for me, I'll start. On Sunday was the Indianapolis 500, and for the first time in 2 years, there were no restrictions at the track. So you had all the seats full. You had all the campers there. You had the snake pit that was going crazy, and it was one incredible race. If you haven't watched it, I would recommend that you do. It was awesome, and
I watched it today. I had my sister record it because I was working, so I watched it.
Okay. All right. So what did you think of the – all right, Steve, what did you think of the Indy 500?
They got real interesting there at the end. I'll tell you that. Is the one guy there, he had a 6-second lead.
ScottJackson for Chip Ganassi Racing.
Got the red flag, which bottled everybody back up, and then the guy from Sweden.
Erickson.
Yeah.
Scott Erickson. Yep, Scott Erickson. Yep.
I knew about Scott Erickson. He used to pitch for the Minnesota Twins and the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah. Marcus Erickson won the race.
Unless he came from Sweden and he's 33.
Oh, that guy's old.
Yes,
I know, but I'm telling you, that's the only Scott Erickson I knew.
Yeah,
growing up, and that Scott Erickson pitched a no-hitter for the Twins.
But yeah, he held off Tony Khan there on the last lap of the race.
Tony Khan. Yeah. It was
I have the Major League Baseball network on, and Kevin Gossman, I got to give him credit. He's letting his hair grow. I was looking on the TV going, who is pitching for the Blue Jays? I'm like, wow, that's Gossman. I was like, I guess he's allowed to lose his hair and can't. Look at it. Grow your hair, big boy. There you go.
It's all curly too.
I know. I've never seen it with long hair. I'm so used to him with his buzz cut and and all that stuff. But anyway, sorry for getting off track. I was just watching the MLB Network, but
multitasking.
Yeah. So this weekend, I think it was pretty cool. With I forgot to tell people about the women's lacrosse. That was pretty cool. A sellout down at Hopkins. With a lot of people down there on a hot Sunday afternoon, and North Carolina, women's lacrosse, finished an undefeated season. Another team undefeated. So I guess this year is the theme of undefeated, lacrosse.
Yeah, my weekend was involved with watching World War II aircraft at an airfield not too far from here.
Cool,
nice.
Was a B-24 bomber and a B-29 bomber that were flying around Baltimore area over the last couple of days. I got some real good pictures and photos of them.
That's cool. That's awesome. And George, did you do any cookouts or anything, or just
6:45 on the parade route for an 8:00 kickoff?
Yeah. Hey, I saw you. Are you running for the Republican Party in Indiana?
I will be running this fall for the Board of Education. Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Good job, dude.
I'm behind you, George.
Yes.
Thanks.
Do you realize that if you put your name on the ballot, you may not be allowed on the program? Did you hear about that once? That if you put your name on the presidential ballots and you want to be the president for one day, you can't be on any media outlet. You have to. Yeah, I heard about that.
Nice.
Yeah. It's like, wow. I said, if you like somebody, just write somebody's name and screw them up for a day.
Hey, I want to talk about what happened down in North Carolina with the Rangers there and the Hurricanes.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't get me started. Do not get me started.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
Adam, 0 for 3. 0 for 3.
I'm not happy. Another goalie goes down playing the Rangers. Okay? We're not the Hanson brothers. You're talking about people's careers. Okay? We're not a bunch of goons like the Hanson brothers. And we don't go around hurting goalies.
Jeez.
Once it's an accident, twice it's a problem.
Thank you.
That's crazy.
Thank you.
Don't deserve to be moving on.
No. Well, let's bring it. Memorial Day is gone, and now it's the start of summer, and hopefully we'll have a great summer with stuff going on. And like us here at the station, we'll be doing a lot of stuff during the summer. And hey, it's today it's 100 days until NFL. That's what I saw. So more football coming down the road. But what George said last week, can I have my summer, please?
Exactly.
Yeah, I know this gentleman will be busy this summer. This guy will be up in Portland, Maine, trying to campaign for Adam to become mayor of Portland, Maine. So he's going to be mayor. I know he needs a running mate, so this guy might be his part of his cabinet. So let's bring in Chris Barnes, our good friend who loves coming on the program. Are you going to help Adam run for mayor? Because last week
he's going to have a lot of competition in that building.
Thanks, Chris.
They do it right there, but he's going to fit right in, no doubt about that.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we had all the guys on last night, last week, Chris Prather and Kyle Troop and Tim Mack, and we were trying to get him to get a campaign going. Trying to get him. And we're also trying to need your help too. Trying to get him the so you can throw out the first ball. The PBA league.
Well, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, you want to get involved, Chris? I mean, you were there last year with King Lanes.
Into the fire.
Woo. So Chris, how you been lately? I know you've been busy watching your Sun Bowl, and I was watching some of that stuff the other day, and it looks like a common copy of you a little bit.
Well, there are some parts about the start that start that way, and then after that, then it all gets a little bit better, probably. So, two-handed, that's certainly a future. He's got so much rev rate, and I mean, he weighs 60 pounds less than I do, and throws it harder, and has more RPMs, and I used to be skinny once too, but it's hard to believe I was ever quite that skinny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was just watching. I was like, well, wait a minute, that looks like Chris for a minute. Like, and it's like because when you did it, when you first came out of the league on tour, I got to do a flashback. This is flashback to 1999.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first match. You're playing against. You're in Albuquerque. So look how young you are. Did you have a driver's license that time?
Oh, yeah, shoot. I was already 29 years old by then. Or close to it.
You look like they need to card you.
And I do look a lot more like him in that picture than I do now. That's for sure.
So let me get him. This is Brian. We know about Brian. People really love back in the late 90s.
This is about the only highlight that there was is right there that I was the qualifying leader.
So here you are. Coming up, sorry for the long clip here. So here's ChrisBarnes back in the day.
It's the first show I ever made on the tour.
Yeah.
Wow.
Low scoring. They were hard that week.
Look at you're like, okay, and that's what you look like. It's pretty cool that I'm sorry for cutting that off a little bit. I was trying to make it edit my editing thing, but what was it feeling like bowling in that first tournament? You qualified. You must have been scared out of your mind.
Well, I mean, I was 20 or 29, so it wasn't my first go at bowling in some big moments. But I think bowling on tour and bowling on the TV, the TV show, that's a different animal than anything else. And so I certainly had plenty of adrenaline and nerves and everything else going on. As the tournament leader, a chance to win your first title. There's all kinds of things that it's easy to get in your own head a little bit and get distracted from. Some of the things that just need to happen for you to win, which took me a little while, but I learned them later on.
Steve, you got a question?
Hey, Chris, talk about the thing there that you're doing with the one-arm approach, but with your son doing the two-handed approach. Is there a lot of debate between you and him over which style is better?
No. He was one-handed till he was 13, and then he started playing a lot of baseball and a lot of basketball, and so we came. I came back off tour at one point. He only bowled with me maybe 2 or 3 times a year after that for the next 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. And he'd bowl for a little while, and his hand would tear up, and then he'd bowl two-handed just because he was athletic enough to do it. And I came off tour at one point, and he was probably 16 or so, and I went, "You can stop putting your thumb in it. Maybe shoot spares that way." But it got very obvious to me. There was a point to where, all right, well, they can only hook it, or they can only do this, or only do that. And then, well, Jason obviously was great at hooking it. And then Kyle was great at playing straight. And somebody like Chris Vi had started really figuring out how to be pretty good at both of them. Not at the same level as either one of the other two yet, but you could see it coming. And really, there's nothing that he couldn't do with two hands that I could do with one, except do it with more rev rate. And like any other sport, I mean, it's great that guys hit home runs, but Aaron Judge hits them a lot further. So,
yeah, or Pete Alonso hits a lot further too. Pete Alonso, the guy from the Mets.
I actually don't like any New York teams. So, as a Midwestern guy, I grew up a Royals guy, so I really don't like the Yankees. But
hey, I forgive you for the 2015 World Series. It's okay.
It's all right.
I just don't watch them celebrate on my field at Citi Field. I went to bed right after we gave up like 6 runs to you guys, and my mom goes, "You're not watching the bottom of the ninth?" I'm like, "No, it's over with, Mom. Yeah, I'm going to bed." She's like, "Wow."
Was it the Mets? Was it the Mets?
Yeah, yeah. He got the Mets.
I forgot. It was just another team. I didn't even think about it.
It's okay.
Chris, you would have liked your guest from a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Chris, who was the guy from the Royals you had on a couple of weeks ago? The one that we had an interesting conversation with.
Oh, that guy. Great. We had Greg Pryor on. He used to play for the Royals back in 1985.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Very salty. Very salty. Yeah, he was
Greg Pryor. God, 85. That's back like Gubazaw
and George Brett and Frank White, all those people. And my dad had a friend who was on the Royals. My dad played with a guy who was he played in pay-per-view baseball up in Long Island. His name was Dennis Leonard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the late 70s. That's Dennis
Leonard.
But
he was still pitching in 85. He was still on the roster. He was like the guy like in the bullpen. Yeah.
He was at the back. Yeah, he wasn't doing much. He was like a middle reliever by that time.
Yeah.
But just still grinding it out. But yeah, no, that was yeah, Frank White and UO Washington and Willie Wilson and
Yeah.
that kind of gang there. So
And then you got somebody named Bo came in '88, Bo Jackson, who
yeah,
lighted it up.
Bo knew everything.
Until he learned how to pop his hip. I saw that game when I was a kid on TV when he popped his hip, and my brother and I looked at each other going, "He's not coming back." Yeah.
No, that was brutal.
That's sad. Yeah, he
It
was
was
such
really
a great
brutal.
running back and a great baseball player at the same time.
Just an
Yeah.
unbelievable athlete.
George, you got anything for Chris?
So, Chris, couple questions. Well, Chris asked one of them about the two-handed bowling.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go with, what was it like when, the PBA would always have, it was kind of closed down to the United States. What was it like when they opened the doors to travel international and going bowling overseas?
Well, I'd been bowling overseas beforehand with Team USA before I went on tour.
Yeah, but outside of that, professionally.
Well, I mean, it wasn't really the PBA Tour. It was actually the same events that we were bowling before.
Okay.
They became World Bowling Tour events,
Okay.
and then they got more organized as far as that, and they added more prize money.
Okay.
Traveling the world is one of the great benefits of my life, I guess. Through Team USA and getting to, I got to have these relationships before I went on tour, and so then when the tour kind of cut back on domestic stops and opened things up and gave us more time to travel overseas, we went right back to some of these same places that we'd been to, a decade or more before, and get to kind of rekindle those friendships and relationships. And I do think that World Bowling Tour did help out. It made it easier for the players that were good around the world to come and bowl with us, because then we actually had some familiarity. It wasn't quite so scary as just walking in cold to someplace you've never been.
Yeah.
Always been the hardest part about travel is walking in someplace and when you don't know how anything works, and the rest of the world is way better hosts than we are. We're not particularly accommodating to other people when they come in. They kind of leave everybody on their own, and culturally, it's especially Eastern culture is way more accommodating to visitors, and they make it a lot easier for us than we do for them.
Yeah. Hey, is the tour going back to Japan? Are they going back next year? Or
It doesn't seem so. It doesn't seem so. They lost a major sponsor a little while back, and they kind of pieced it together and did the best they could. But by and large, their governing body it's not set up the same. It's kind of like USBC has sponsored different events over the years, and they funded it for a while, and then it just didn't make sense for them to keep funding that one event where so much of the money goes outside of their organization.
Yeah, I remember the code. They had the Japan Invitational, and then you guys bowled over there, and then it was like you guys are so used to the travel. And I see like Tim Chris went over there a couple of years. My friend from here in Bel Air, Maryland.
Right.
Yeah.
The Stanley Cup was a very cool thing. It was almost a major when I came on tour, and then the Microsoft guys came on and made everything kind of that kind of prize fund.
Mm-hmm.
And so it lost a little bit of its luster, but and then again it kind of reestablished as a big time event
right
later on. But yeah, I mean, they've struggled with funding and sponsorships like like all kinds of sports, especially the mid-tier sports. And so
well, Adam's going to see you in a month or so up in Portland, and you got released by your team, these Adam Splitters, and you got picked up by LA. So what was like feeling like that, getting dropped and then getting picked up by Jason Belmonte's squad?
Well, yeah, I mean, Mark Baker and I are great friends, and he's the manager of that team, and we had a conversation ahead of time, and I told him I was going to save him from a very awkward conversation. They said, because we had three guys that were in the top 10 or top 12 with Jesper, Chris Fye, and Tom Doherty, and it just didn't really make sense for him to hang on to me when I'd been about 30th overall, and it just wasn't. It wasn't really the right play, I didn't think, and so it was just, he traded back and was trying to make his team the best he could make it by and thought I would still had a pretty good chance to still be available, but underestimated my value to a couple of guys. And Beef Stew is on that team, and Andrew Kane and I have been around each other a long time with through Team USA, and so they snapped me right up, and sooner than I expected, honestly. And I'm honored and proud to be part of we got a really good group of guys that all, have some chemistry and a lot of experience bowling with each other. So expecting big things there.
That's cool. And you also bowled with Jason Belmonte, and he's going to be back in the States. So last year he wasn't even here at this time.
Yeah, it was a weird time for everybody over the last couple of years. So it's kind of back to normal, so to speak, and pretty cool. But even before that, and I don't want to miss this, is that we bowled the royal family thing, and taped it a little while back, but Monday, June 6th at 9 p.m. And then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, there will be that royal family show at 9 p.m. each day on FS1. And then you get to watch myself and my son bowl doubles together. And
cool.
You can decide for yourself which one's the better one. It's already more of a judgment call than I care for. But
look at Adam without his own finger. He's like pointed over there like that guy.
Well, I tell you what, I got more skins on the wall, but as a head-to-head, it's getting closer every day.
No.
There's some really cool talent there. You get to see Wes Villard, his son Jordan.
They had what's his name? They had Gubby Troop bowling, and I haven't seen Gubby bowl since I was a kid. And I'm
Gubby doesn't get around so good anymore. But
really, all right.
He'll be on. They're kind of as the reigning kings, reigning royal family, because they're the only ones that both had titles. You get to see Tom Smallwood and his son, Ronnie Russell and his son. His son Caden can really throw it. Alyssa Ballard and Carolyn Ballard, and then of course Parker Bone, and then Brandon. Which tough choice there between Justin and Brandon. They're both really talented players, and but he and Brandon both together in that final.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Adam, you got anything?
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Last year, Chris, as you know, you were in Maine for the King of the Lanes, and it was the first time that fans were allowed back, and this year for the fans were allowed back. So talk to us what it was like to have the fans, back this year.
I enjoy it 100% better, and I do think it makes it a lot harder for people who are making their first show, because there's an electricity in the air that you can't really recreate without people. There's a nervous energy and excitement, a buzz that happens, and I think that's why you actually saw so many players making their first appearance on TV last year have so much success. It was a little bit more normal than TV shows are. TV shows are chaotic, and they're loud, and they're crazy, and there's all kinds of unusual visual and audio things around you that are very distracting, and it makes it very difficult for a new player to be successful. And last year, without all that noise, without all that extra things, I think it allowed some of those guys to be way closer to play at the same level they got to the show, which it's always the hardest part, when you're making those first shows.
Yeah, that's true. Chris, I have a question to ask you. When you were growing up bowling, who did you idolize as a young man growing up watching television? Did you grow up, watching all the greats? Who did you idolize yourself and say, I want to be just like him?
Marshall and Mark Roth were. Okay. I had a buddy of mine that I bowled youth leagues with. Ironically, his son was drafted by the Bears as a lineman in the second round last year.
Oh, wow.
Big boy. So we would do old Saturday morning league. I'd go over to his house after we bowled league. He was closer to the center we were at. Mess around for a while, play basketball, whatever, and then watch the show, and then go back and bowl. And he would be Mark Roth because he was bigger. It looked like Mark Roth was gigantic.
Yeah.
And then and I'd be Marshall. So I'd hold it low and run up there and do that. And I mean, we played those two guys all the time and just and had a ball doing it. So trying to mimic whatever we saw on the show that week.
That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, those two were legends in bowling. I grew up watching all of them. Plus Pete Weber. I grew up watching him too, and I loved when I was a kid. I thought I was when I was bowling in rec league. I thought I was on the professional bowlers tour. My mom used to tell me, "Stop it! You're not on TV. Enough." Because I used to run things out because that's what Pete Weber used to do. He used to run them out. And Mike Albee and all those people, and I was like, I thought I was on TV, and my mother's like, "Stop it!" It's like, sorry,
Yeah, I
Mom.
think we're all drawn to people who are real. And like all the people mentioned, like Pete was real. Whether you liked it or hated it, that's who Pete is. Mike Alby's really quiet, reserved, but internally very fierce competitor. And on the show was one of the few times you would get to see that emotion. And, and it was real. That's who he was.
Yeah, I saw him one time jump in midair, and like NBC took a film, like they took a picture of it, and he's like literally off the ground. He's like,
Yeah.
It's like, really? Like, wow. When you're a kid, you're like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
George, you got anything for Chris? Or?
I was just going to embarrass myself. When I was bowling league, and I was actually on the amateur tour, Chris. I did a little bit of time on the ABT. And then my friends and my wife, we go out bowling just for fun, and I got called Twinkle Toes Flintstone.
All right. Well,
so just because of the finish, it's all about the finish, and I always would end up on my toes, as you should, right? And that's what stuck. Yeah. So Chris, I gave you a little bit of fodder.
A term of endearment, I'm sure.
Hey George, you could be like Al Bundy, just throw the ball down the lane. He goes, right? Yeah, like I tried that once time. Like that doesn't work. Like come on.
If you throw the ball right, I've done it.
You done it? Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah. So
I actually strung 3 in a row one time doing that.
Doing it? Yeah. Okay. Stop showboating here, sir. It's not your program.
Hey, I can't help it. Somebody carried a league average of 225. I mean, hey,
Yeah. And Chris, what was the first? Well, speaking of being on tour, what was when you first went on to a PBA tournament? Were you was there a lot of different rules back then for you guys? Like, because he bowled in a regional up here in Forest Hill, and they were like, he didn't make any money, and like no offense to Russ, Russ, what's his name?
Russ Mills.
Russ Mills, but he was like, I'm going to fine you for no belt, with no name on it. I'm looking at him like, you don't have any money, dude. Like, yeah.
And then one time I bowled on the wrong lane. He was going to fine me $100 for doing that, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
No, that's not a fine.
Yeah, I know.
Bowling on the wrong lane's not a fine.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to think. It's like, what am I being penalized for? Yeah, I bowled on the wrong lane. Come in.
Filling out your score sheet wrong. You have to have proper attire, and yet there's a list of approved balls that you have to use.
Right.
And, we live in a world that's very relaxed, and so the rules haven't really changed. The enforcement of them has gotten a little bit lax at times and let people slide in the interest of, well, we don't want to run people off, but in the end, the rules haven't.
Yeah, it was the first time I'd bowled in a tournament of that caliber, so I didn't know really what to expect. I mean, I finished 4th from the bottom, but I didn't know what to expect going in, so it was all new to me.
I think there's actually a section now, and I believe they've kind of put something together about what to expect when you're bowling a regional, when you're bowling on tour. Mostly the regionals, because by the time you've made the national tour, you've bowled enough of those to have some idea. But and if not, maybe that's something that Beef Stew and I need to put together, is kind of what to expect when you're going out to bowl your first PBA regional. What you need to be ready for, what's allowed, what's not allowed, where to find the information, those kind of things. Because, we tend to forget because we've been out there for so long. But it's a little scary at first. Like you say, you don't know all the rules. You don't know what's important, what's not.
And there's the other thing was the lane spacing for what you got to give for the other bowlers. Where in the league, you're giving a lane for if you're going up to throw your first shot and the guy bowling next to you is throwing his second, it's courtesy to give him the right of way to finish his second shot. But on a PBA,
not really,
you have to give a 4-lane clearance.
Well, the PBA courtesy and the PWBA also, it's basically one pair courtesy. So somebody in your pair bowl, somebody on the left pair, somebody on the right pair. If you think about it like that, on your pair, and generally you just alternate whoever's up, but it's just one pair. It's just one pair courtesy versus one lane. So, but it can be at first. It sounds more confusing than it is.
Yeah, I think that was one of the problems with me doing it. Is it was I wasn't used to it, and it didn't stop me from, going in to actually experience it. And yeah, it was a great experience. I would do it again, but I'd have to probably go through and update all my equipment because I don't have anything, modern.
Well, you don't have to have modern equipment. I mean, the guys win with urethane all the time now. So
Ask Kyle Troop.
I have a resin ball and a plastic spare ball. That's about all I got right now.
I got some old stuff. And my bowling ball is the rubber ball and an old plastic ball, and I don't think those are allowed on tour anymore. So
no, they're allowed. Well, depending on which brands they are, they're allowed.
I don't know. I think mine's like an old Brunswick.
Yeah,
I'll look at it.
Brunswick, ebonite hammer.
Hey, Mark Roth told me one time, I talked to him on the phone, and he asked me what kind of bowling balls I got. I got an old rubber ball. He goes, "It still works?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Why you want to go buy a new bowling ball?" I'm like, "That's a good point."
My nitro still works, Chris.
There you go. That's all
My
you need.
nitro still works.
There you
That's
go.
all you need.
Yeah. I do want to ask you before we let you go about your TV show. I brought that up. I have a clip of you and Stu Williams. Yeah, that was a good sidebar about talking about what you want to talk about. If you want to get Steve on for that one, maybe that was probably a good one for you guys. But how's the show going? Yeah, it seems like you guys have been doing little half an hour, 15 minutes. You did one about fixing bowling balls and all that stuff.
We're doing more YouTube content. And that's separate from our show, but our show is Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's with my Mahomes jersey for you football fans. So
nice.
We do a show Tuesday and Thursday at 11 Eastern for about an hour because Stu can talk about anything for an hour. Is no issue whatsoever.
Like this guy here with sports. You tell him a sports fact, he'll talk to you for 20 minutes about it.
Yeah, we literally talk about anything. We talk about golf. We talk about soccer. It's mostly about bowling, but the fact is we're both sports junkies as well, so we can pontificate on about anything. And Stu has no problem filling space ever. So it gets a little tough right now because we bowled on tour, which the schedule was a little different this year, overlapped some, and so we had missed some shows. And now I'm on the senior tour. And so we're kind of bouncing around. We're filling in where we can. He's in England today, so Linda co-hosted with me, and we had Shannon O'Keefe on and talked about her victory. And then we're trying to do way more of the things like you're talking about. What to do when you go into a regional? What should you expect? Hey, how should you put together your accessory kit? How should you do, the new ball reviews, of course, and things like that. But trying to do more of those kind of the things that we've forgotten about.
That's a good point. Yeah, and like you said, you got to do something for him because you don't know. Because I want to join one of those regional, as one of my bucket lists. But I'm like, I need to know what I need to do because I don't know
what shirts are allowed, what shirts are not allowed, what's expected of you, what's not, how many balls.
What I did with mine is I had like a collared like a dress shirt.
Like a golf shirt or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But I had my last name embroidered on the back of it.
Yep.
Thing. So.
Yeah, that's the easiest way out. If you do a dye sub like this, like I'm sponsored by Cool Wick, so this is a Cool Wick one, but I can't wear that on tour. I wear it everywhere else. But regional and national tour, high five jerseys only, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of little things, and so. It's probably worth putting something together that makes sense.
Exactly.
And I still have that shirt today. It's still hanging up in my closet, so it's still usable.
Nice. That's awesome.
I used to wear placards like the ladies tour used to do. So double stick tape and had a full thing and just stuck it on my back. PBA tour has a lot of that. So.
Cool.
Like the old baseball jerseys. They didn't put the name on it. You could rip it off. And,
when you get your 10-day contract was up, you could just reuse the jersey.
Exactly. Well, Chris, thanks for coming on tonight. And if you want to see Chris and his son bowl at the King of the Lanes, the royal family, it actually starts June 6th to the 10th on Fox Sports 1. So, hopefully we'll see. Maybe somebody might be winning something.
That's right. Well, 6th, 7th, and 8th is the royal family, and then the 9th and the 10th is King of the Lanes.
Okay.
And they threw a couple of guys in there. Norm will be on that one. The resident pro winner. And then Tom of course, Sterner, and then Tommy and Kyle have a rematch in there. So,
Oh wow, that'll be great.
very good. Hey, I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for being a guest with us
thanks,
all the
Chris.
time, and good
Thanks,
luck
Chris.
with the rest of your summer. And get
See you
your
in 5
son
weeks,
rolling,
Chris.
and we'll
Better
see you
way.
soon.
Looking forward to it. Go
Yeah,
LAX.
it's called
All right, go Royals.
actually,
I just have to say, go Royals.
The
How
whole
about
point.
Yeah.
yeah, go Royals, Chris, go Royals.
that?
We'll stick to the Chiefs now. So,
Yes. All
There you go.
right, Chris. See you, man.
all right.
See
See
you.
you
Bye.
guys. Bye.
All right, folks. That's Chris Barnes. It's always great to have him on the program here, on the show. So it's 7:40 here on a Tuesday night. We started a little bit earlier this week because we had all the regional stuff. Let's talk about some of the regionals. I'm waiting for Coach Reed to join us. He's probably going to be running behind. Let's see here. We got some. I wrote some stuff here. Yes, I could probably do a whole 3-hour show without anybody around. Yeah, I can.
Okay. See ya.
Oh, Adam's vlogging off too now. What's that? That's funny. Anyway, get this. We were talking about baseball.
See you later.
Talking about like this week with baseball games and all that stuff. Did you know? I found this. We do all this in this sports history and stuff. In 1964, on this date, the Giants and Mets played a 23-inning game at Shea Stadium.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Wow.
23 innings.
George looks so and so.
The second game of a doubleheader. The first game was like 2 hours, whatever. This one went 5 hours and whatever minute. And there's no video, but I heard the audio. I got the audio from the folks I found on YouTube, and you got to listen to it because this is classic. Leslie, the former Met broadcaster. Here it is.
We have a lot of baseball to be played here today. Now Bolin stretches and the pitch way outside. It's 3-0. So Haller walks the ball back to him this time at the mound. Pitch is swung on and hit in the air to center field. Willie Mays going back. He's in the warning track. He leaps up. It's it. Home run for Joe Christopher. A home run over the wall. A 3-run homer and the score is tied.
Lindsey Nelson with the call for the Mets back there, in 1964. That's classic. That's a classic call. But they went on to lose the game. But Willie Mays playing in center field, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah. I wish we were.
Yeah.
Our parents were. My dad was alive for Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle and all that stuff, and I'm like, man, I would love to watch those people in person. Yeah, they were faithful. Yeah. Got a lot of sun in there.
Yeah, I don't know, like the sun finally decided to come out on you there.
It's called. It's called. We actually had a lot of rain. We actually had a lot of rain here last weekend. Actually, some of the rivers actually almost flooded.
Wow.
I mean, last year we had Tropical Storm Fred come through here in western North Carolina, and it ruined a local high school's football field. So they had to play all away games last year, and I think they're gonna. And it was AstroTurf, and it was the first year they had AstroTurf. So it's like they've been trying to get it all back together. I mean, if you guys saw pictures, I mean, it was devastating. It was. I mean, we'd never seen anything like that. And there's still debris, that hasn't been cleaned up. If you're driving down the road here, it's like, it was catastrophic for all of us around here in Western North Carolina. It's like, we've never seen anything like that. I mean, it was crazy. And
yeah, my parents, when I think it was Hurricane Michael, after it came up through the Gulf and went through the Carolinas.
Yeah.
They in Sanford, they got like 15 inches of rain.
Wow.
And they said that they were actually worried that they were going to have to wait a while because the lake that's on the Actually, no, they had to do it at the lake that's at the community where they're at, rose so high it actually flooded over the main road to and from the community. So they had to use a back entrance for 2 weeks.
Wow.
To come and go until the water dropped down enough to where they could use the road again.
Jeez.
Wow. That's incredible, Steve. Wow.
Well, I wish a happy birthday to this gentleman. If you were a football fan like we are, it's Joe Namath's birthday today.
Broadway Joe. Wow.
Broadway Joe. Always the best. I think the Jets are still trying to find his replacement.
They just had a good draft, Chris.
Yeah, they did. But they had a couple good drafts years ago, and it didn't pan out. So this is, hopefully, hopefully they can find somebody. But look at it, old footage here in the rain at Shea Stadium.
Wow,
He just hit a home run.
Yeah, he has more power than the Mets back then. Yeah, they did until '69.
And speaking of the Mets, they just hit a home run.
Oh, speaking of good stuff, we're up 2-0. Good stuff. So I got to say, the best steal of the year is we got Buck Showalter.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that, Chris. That was a good hire for the Mets.
Oh, I like our guys. Our guys are great.
It's like what you said, Chris. He'll come in. He's good for the first couple of years, straighten out the ship, and third year.
Well, I think if somehow we make it to the postseason and we somehow pull out a miracle to win the World Series, I think he'll probably retire because I think he probably got his ring, and I think he'll be done. I think the only reason why he's with
you just jinxed him.
Nice catch by the guy. Wow.
You
There's a guy holding
him.
a baby at City Field and caught the home run ball from Sterling Marte with one hand.
Well,
that's a web gem.
That'll be a Sports Center highlight.
Yeah, Sports Center highlight. Let's bring in Coach Reed here. I think he's here. Let me see this. Hey, Coach, you there?
I am here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. All
How are
good,
you
sir.
doing?
Good. Can you see me as well?
No, you're pretty in the dark. You okay?
Yeah.
I'm
undercover, man.
Did they cut the power there?
I must be undercover.
Here, I'll make him feel better.
Look, I'm trying to get undercover. I thought you had me undercover there, Chris. Look, I have been trying to hide, man. I've been working like 25-hour days, if you know what I mean.
Are you running? Not 24. Question for you: are you running for mayor of Baltimore? Because you've been on TV a lot than the actual mayor.
I know, man. It's look, but you know what? It's been a long time coming, man. I try to be, Chris. I try to be accommodating to everyone. I know. I don't know why my screen's black because
it's okay. Just put on that little
video on, man.
We can hear you. It's fine. We got you. We can do the old audio thing. Sometimes computers don't work. Sometimes it's technology. What do you get? What do you expect?
I almost had camera problems tonight. So
yeah. So anyway,
coach than me. So
first off, congratulations on making it to the regional. You must be excited yesterday. I saw a picture of you when they select you guys to play East Carolina. It looked like you went to Disney World.
Wasn't it wild, man? It was wild. Look. Here's why it was so wild. You got a 64 team bracket, right? And we're assuming that no one's going to be split. There we go. We're assuming no one's going to pick us above 64, maybe 63, maybe 62 if we're lucky. So we're going to face one of the top three dogs. It's going to be either number 1 Tennessee, number 2 Stanford, or number 3 Oregon State. And then we find out later that we were a 57 seed, not a 64, 63. So I think that display there just shows how shocked they were that we were given a pretty good draw, man. The Greenville, North Carolina region.
Yeah, I wish I had a zoom thing on the picture because I love the feature of you in the back. It looked like one of those like when you're on like a ride at Disney World.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, going down Splash Mountain. Yeah, it's like I've seen that before.
I've not seen this still shot, man. This is a good one.
Is it? I found that today. It was on I think it was on the Twitter page. I saw it today.
Oh, that is awesome, man.
Yeah, but you must be so proud of your guys. Went through that tournament. It was like what, 2 weeks ago. So you guys haven't played in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and what we did, Chris, today we had a tune-up. So we had a tune-up scrimmage. So all of our arms could throw one inning, and in most cases that acted as their bullpen. They were scheduled for a bullpen today anyway. It was our last shot to give the hitters a chance at seeing live pitching, and of course the pitchers to throw the live batting. From what I hear, I wasn't able to make most of the game, but I understand that the pitching had their way. The pitching was spectacular today.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about East Carolina. These guys are really they're on an 18-game winning streak. They could hit the ball out of the ballpark. I think they took it. I think they went right through the American Athletic Conference, like the Mets are doing really well this past weekend, just sweeping everybody. They got power. Yeah,
they can swing them, and as well as they swing them, we can swing them too, man. I think they're batting 282 as a team. We're batting 284. It's going to be a good matchup. It's going to be a real good matchup. I think that facing a team on a streak like 18 straight wins, including 4, sweeping your conference championship, I would be nervous if I was East Carolina, because at some point, in any sport, that streak is going to come to an end. But I think our guys are well rested. Their bodies were taxed after a long season, a tough battle in 4 games to get the conference championship. And we take that break every chance we get.
Mm-hmm. So before I let it, Steve, George, have a question for Coach?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead and ask. It's okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Go ahead. I'll come back.
Okay. My question is with this games this weekend. You play Friday at 1, and then you play a double elimination. What do you set up your pitching staff for? Do you try to not use all the you don't want to be like what's the Sparky Anderson pull everybody out every half inning. What's your game plan for the pitching staff?
Okay, what we're going to do is it's important in a double elimination tournament, just as it's set up very similar to the MEAC Conference Championship, which also consisted of 4 teams, double elimination. What you really want to do, Chris, you want to get the first win. Okay. You really want to sell out for the first win. And, I can't remember which veteran manager said, we can start saving guys, but if you start saving guys and don't get the win, you've saved them real well. You've saved them for 7 months. Okay, so we're not going to save anybody. We're going to treat game 1 as if it's the deciding game in a 2-2 series. Game 5, win it all. That's how we're going to approach game 1. We're going to throw all of our top horses.
Yeah, okay. So, George, you got a question for Coach Reed?
So, Coach, your team is just, you're at this turning point, right, where you're kind of happy where you're at. How do you keep the guys focused and say, guys, there's still some baseball here. You got to be able to turn that energy into some mental toughness.
Yeah, and the mental toughness is what, George, I think has been the difference. I can't remember I think it was, what's his name, on the ESPN interview this morning. And one of the things I mentioned when the subject came up, well, Reed, you've had some really good teams recently. In 2018, you guys were 18-4 in the conference, picked by everybody in America to go represent that conference in the regional. Then the next year, but we slipped in the playoffs. And then in 2019, we broke the school's record for victories, and the club was equally as talented as the 18, and we still couldn't get out. I think we got to the semifinals. The difference between this year's team and those teams of the past that also was talent rich is the mental toughness. It really is, George. These guys believe and expect to win. So when they face adversity, okay, and one thing goes wrong, let's just say we get a booted ball. in the past, that one booted ball by the shortstop mushrooms into a second error. And then before you know it, you've spotted a team, a 4-run, 4 unearned runs and a 4-1 deficit. This team knows how to turn the page real quick, and they are tough, and they're not fazed by anything and anyone. And that's why I like our chances. And I would have felt equally as good if we did get the draw to face the number 1 team in the nation in Tennessee. But I just think that mental toughness is the strength of this team. And we have, as a coaching staff, stressed mental toughness more this year than we've done in the past as well.
Yeah. Adam, you got a question?
Yeah. First of all, congratulations on making the NCAA tournament this year for I believe the first time since 1995.
That's correct.
The Coppin, and we talked about East Carolina, but there are 2 other teams in the region: Coastal Carolina, who's won a national championship in the past, and also the Virginia Cavaliers out of the ACC. So, have you had a chance to watch any film from either Coastal Carolina or Virginia? Assuming if you lose to ECU, you guys will play one of those 2 teams on Saturday.
Yeah. So what we've been doing is, we're really up against the clock. We really are. So we've been focusing primarily on East Carolina. However, we've been doing some little sprinkling of looking at different statistical categories for Coastal and Virginia. And you're right, Coastal, not long ago, I think it was just maybe 4 years ago, they had a great run in the postseason. And we all know Virginia is Virginia, playing out of the tough Atlantic Coast Conference. So right now I would say 70 to 80% of the game plan and the scouting has been focused on East Carolina, with a little focus, so we're not totally in the dark, on the other 2 ball clubs. The good news is, after playing one game in a 24-hour span, we'll know walking off the field 4 or 5 hours later who's going to be that opponent. So we'll have that evening and the early morning to really get these guys ready with a game plan, put it in place that we're going to feel real good about.
Yeah. George, you got to follow up?
So, Coach, really quick, just to a comment to what you said earlier. It's always easier to play out of the winner's bracket than it is trying to play out of the loser's bracket. And then secondly, just like in basketball, Cinderella can dance. And, you have the right mindset, that these guys can go and win. Your team can go in there and can win it all. You just got to have that, like you're saying, that mental toughness to go and do it.
And you know what, George? Of all the sports, that one sport that is most subject to a major upset, it is really baseball. Because the bottom line, if we field the ball, you only get 27 outs. If we field the ball, compete in the strike zone with our pitchers, get timely hitting, you can surprise, and a big, mighty favor can go down. So we know that. We really do know that. So we are going out there with the understanding that, and you're right, those teams coming out of the winning bracket, and you can see the advantage we had in the MEAC going 2-0 and getting to the championship game coming out of the MEAC, as well as Delaware State played. They had to play 2 extra games to get there, and that's when we're at our best, when we can get into back end pitching from the bullpen. We feel that we got the kind of offense that's going to do major damage. So, but no, you're absolutely right. We know that this is possible, and we're going into this series with the understanding. We had a meeting just a few minutes ago with the team, and that was one of the things we stressed. If we had any player in the room that didn't think this was possible to come out that region as the champion, then they should really walk out that door, because we feel strongly that we can do some surprising damage. And we wouldn't be surprised, anyone on this coaching staff, what kind of success we have or end up having and what the possible opportunities are. We wouldn't really be surprised at all, given how talented this group is.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Coach Reed, thanks for coming on tonight. We've been so proud to be helping you out during from the days that we met you. We're proud that you guys are finally made it to the big show. And is the game going to be broadcast? I know it's on ESPN Plus, but is our good friend Nestor, is he going to be putting it on the radio, or what's the deal?
Yes, we're going to have it. We're going to have the live radio feed as well, Chris. And I think game day 2 is on ESPNU.
Okay.
The opening round is on Plus, and we are going to have that live radio feed from Nestor's station also out there.
That's cool. That's awesome.
And Chris, by the way, I want to thank you, man. You look way back, man. When Coppin, we couldn't listen, man. Way back in the day, you scored your 8 runs and then you intentionally made an out so you can beat the dark and get out of there with a win. It was really some days in CoppinState baseball history that we're not proud of back when we were struggling as a program. But you stuck with us, man. You were out there broadcasting games for us, and we haven't forgot that, man. So this is for you too, Chris.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll be watching from afar because I'll be watching you guys hopefully on my phone. I have a doctor's appointment at 2, so I'll probably tell the doctor to speed it up a little bit. But no, I'm just proud of you guys ever since I met you, and you guys you've been working very hard from day one. I think you're like the hardest guy I know that's running around Baltimore City, Baltimore County. You and like we talked on the phone about you and Towson. Matt and Tyler was doing a Towson, and we'll get baseball around the Baltimore metro area, and hopefully this is a step to get to the right way that people realize Baltimore is only not for football. It's also for baseball in the springtime. And yes, I know we had lacrosse that won the championship, but CoppinState does a great job with baseball. And maybe one day you guys should get a on-campus stadium. You got a lot of.
We're working on that, Chris. Actually, George, you're hearing it first. It's in the works, man. It is in the works. I can't talk too much about it, but we're further along than we've ever been to having this thing become a reality.
Yeah. Well, if you shock East Carolina and move on to and keep winning. I think Brandon Scott will figure out a way to get that money to you.
Yeah, there you go. And we've been after the mayor to help partnership with us to get it done.
That's cool. Well, have a safe trip down to Greensville, North Carolina. I think the weather's going to be great down there on Friday. I saw the forecast for you real quick.
It cools down a little bit, man.
Yeah, 84 degrees on Friday. Scattered thunderstorms. So keep it crossed. Maybe the thunderstorm will stay away after, so you guys get a win, and then you can enjoy the rest of your evening with the major thunderstorms down there.
Very good. It can rain after we get that win. Guys, thanks. Always my pleasure being on with you.
Good luck, Coach.
Keep it real. Do well, and hopefully we'll try to talk to you next week. You never know. You keep this thing rolling. You could be our luck charm because we've been getting people on since postseason, and they just kept rolling.
Yeah, we hope you're one of those.
Yeah, so hopefully we get you back on next week. Just keep it going.
Guys, I appreciate you guys. Enjoy your evening, guys. We'll talk again soon.
All right. Thanks for coming on, Coach. Have a good one.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's Coach Reed, who I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, we've been here at the station. We've been doing CoppinState stuff for a long time, and it's been really it's really cool for them to actually make it to the tournament. They can actually put it out there. There is baseball in Baltimore instead of the Orioles and Towson University. No against the Towson University. It's great for Towson, but this is good for the city of Baltimore. Something positive.
For sure.
Because right now there's not a lot of positive things down there in Baltimore City. Yeah.
No.
It's an okay corral. That's all I call it. Yeah. So anyway, it's 8:04 here on a Tuesday night, and let's bring in this gentleman. This guy he was drafted by the Georgia Bulldogs back in he played for Georgia, got drafted by the original Baltimore Colts. So here's a little tie-in. We had a little CoppinState, and now we talk old Baltimore Colts, Indianapolis Colts. He went to Indianapolis. I know in some families, I know they don't want to say the word Indianapolis around here, but we'll keep that under lock and key to this evening.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's bring in Ray Donaldson, who had a great career in the NFL. Hi, Ray. How you doing? We got to hit the. He's muted.
Mhm.
You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you. I can hear you now. Thanks for coming on tonight. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Yeah, it's great to talk to you finally in person, and we talked over Facebook the last couple of days. So,
Yeah.
how's life going?
Good. Can't complain.
That's good. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, I was looking at your career. You got drafted by the old Baltimore Colts.
Right.
And you went off to Indianapolis with them in 1984. What was it like playing in Memorial Stadium in 1980, 81, 82 when the team was struggling and you guys were like wondering, where is everybody?
Well, it was tough because I was used to playing in front of a full stadium coming out of Georgia, and coming up there, we started losing in Baltimore, and fans started not showing up, and they also started booing. So it was very tough.
Yeah. So was it? Yeah. So what was the feeling like playing? Knowing that in 1983, you guys were playing your final season in Baltimore, and then all of a sudden you heard you're moving. When did you get that call? When did you get that call saying like you're going to Indianapolis? And you're like, huh? What are you talking about? Yeah.
Well, there was whispers about the team may be moving, but we didn't get that directly from anybody in the organization. It just so happened that I was in Baltimore at the time, watching television with my girlfriend, and I saw the trucks move out, and I couldn't believe it.
Wow. And you were like, okay, I guess we're going. I found an old clip of Baltimore Colts in Memorial Stadium. So when you were in college, you played guard, but you moved to center in 1981. So talk to the folks that transition if you never played guard or center. What's the hardest thing in transition from being a guard to a center? I know the center is the guy who snaps at the quarterback, and you're basically like almost like the field general trying to tell the offensive line, watch for number 79 or watch for number 90. He's coming in.
Well, first of all, I've never played guard before in my life, so I don't know where people keep making that mistake. Okay.
Okay.
And then when I was at UGA, I went there as a middle linebacker.
Okay.
And and then they moved me to center after the 5th game of my sophomore year.
Okay.
So when I got drafted by the Colts, I was drafted as a center.
Okay.
And so I've never played guard.
Okay. So you moved from being a middle linebacker to center. So that must have been a hard transition because you went from the defensive line to the offensive line. So that must be like one of those.
No, not defensive line. Linebacker. I stood up.
Oh, okay. Stood up. Okay. Gotcha.
Like Ray Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were like Ray Lewis. Okay.
Yeah. It was not that tough of a transition, but it was a tough decision for me to make when they asked me to move, because I had dreams of playing pro football, and I knew at the time my chances was better at linebacker because in NFL there had never been a black center. So I did not want to play center. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So it pissed me off, but I had to get on the field somehow, and who knows what would have happened once I did start playing and the team started seeing me play. I don't know what decision they would have made, but they ended up drafting me as a center, and it worked out.
Right. George, you got a question for Ray?
I was just going to say, what was life like in Dallas? You were around some great players, and your stats are pretty good there. As far as working with Emmitt Smith there and helping him getting that rushing title.
Yeah, I enjoyed playing in Dallas. I wish I had more years to play there. I mean, they an organization that I felt like was the only opportunity in my career that when I went out on the football field, I had a better than 50% chance of winning. My 13 years with the Colts and the 2 with Seattle, I never felt that good. So I really enjoyed playing in Dallas.
Speaking of Dallas, this is my friend Steve, the one I was telling you last night, the big Dallas Cowboys fan. So, Steve, you got a question for Ray?
Yeah, what's going on with the Cowboys? How come they're not doing anything since '95? I've been waiting for that for a long time.
With everybody else, man, I don't know. They come so close and seem like, you lose one of their shoes and, they lose a game and it's all over to next year. I don't know what's going on. They got great players, It's just that
Yeah, I
when
mean,
it's
they got
time
a
to put it
great
together.
lineup in there and everything. And a few years ago, back in I think it was we did the Ed Block Courage Board. Was that 2010?
Yeah, 2010 or around there. Yeah.
Yeah, in 2010,
Yeah.
I got to interview Jason Witten at
Okay.
the time, who was the tight end for the Cowboys. And I'll tell you one thing, it was a big guy. I'm 6'2". I'm sitting here staring up at him like I'm looking at the Great Wall of China.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's 6'5" or something, isn't he? 6'5", 6'6", isn't he?
yeah, he's a tall guy.
Very good football player too.
That's cool. Hey, Adam, you got a question?
Yeah, since last year the Georgia Bulldogs won the national title, so I know you're happy about that.
Absolutely.
But I gotta know, what was it like to play at Georgia under legendary head coach Vince Dooley?
It was hard because the coaching staff wasn't fair.
Oh.
And he allowed it to be that way. Because, like I said, I got moved to center. I never played offensive line before in my life. Every position in college got 2 or 3 backups. So why move me over there? So I don't know. I really didn't enjoy it. So, all other players that played for Vince, maybe they can tell you better, but I didn't enjoy it.
Wow.
Yeah. So what was it like going to Seattle, playing in the Kingdom? You were part of a great offensive line. It was actually their best rushing of their whole franchise at that time. What was the feeling like going from Indianapolis, and they basically told you, we don't need you, and you had to retire, and then also Seattle's like, hey, we'll take you. Yeah. What was it like going up to the Kingdom?
Well, I enjoyed playing up there because I had a chance to reunite with a old line coach that I played for in the Pro Bowl a couple times. Howard Mudd. I don't know if you heard of him or not, but he was a great coach, and we got along really well. And he asked me to come up there and show some leadership and train those young guys up, and I think I did pretty well. And like you said, we led the AFC in rushing for the first time in the team's history. And then the next year, Chris Warren led the AFC in rushing again as an individual. So I had 2 good years up there. I really enjoyed it.
That's cool. George, you got anything for Ray?
No, I was just trying to say correlation. You helped a couple guys do some really good things there in the rushing department. And, they always say, it's the running back that does the work, but it's really the guys up front that really make that possible.
Yeah, but who cares? Right? Nobody cares but the running back. he needs those holes. He take advantage of those holes. Chris Warren was a very good back, but Chris didn't want to be a star. When my first year there, there's just a little story. My first year there, he was running the ball pretty well, but he was only getting like 15 carries. And I suggested to him to ask the coach to put it in his belly a few more times a game, at least 20, 21. And he said, no. He said, don't worry about it. I said, you kidding me? So I went to Howard Mudd and told him. And they started giving it to him a little bit more, and you saw the results of that.
Yep.
He had a great 2 years that I was there. He had very good years.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Well, Ray, I got a question for you about Emmitt Smith. You were down there in Dallas with him. What type of running back was he up in personal? Because I know he was a very good, he's the best running back of all time. But at the time, he was a superstar. What was it like, blocking, and you could give him? Did he have like a special, for you guys up front, or what? Do you have any cool Emmitt Smith stories?
No, man. The Cowboy players, the superstars over there, they didn't hang out with you very much. But Emmett he's a great back. We all know that. And he's, pretty much a straight line runner. You get him through the line of scrimmage and he'll do his damage, But I remember when I first went out there for a visit, when I was getting ready to be signed, I was sitting in a locker room, and he came out of the the facility where the trainers are, training room. Mm-hmm. He came over to me and introduced himself, and I said, I know you are. He said, I know you too. I said, no, you don't know me, because you wouldn't have said to me that you was a straight line runner because if you'd known me, you know I was a power blocker, and you would have been okay just introducing yourself and letting that be that. But he thought I was crazy.
Hey, George, you got a quick follow-up for Ray?
So, Ray, just got a quick question about your residency in Indianapolis. A little bit of your profile online talked about being a high school football coach.
Yeah.
Where are you are you still a high school football coach?
No, I let it go. I did it for about 7 years for 2 different schools up here, Franklin Central High School and what was it, Warren Central.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I live Penn High School is our mega high school around here, and I know that they play a couple of the teams down there from the Indianapolis area. So
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah, that was it. Did it for about 7 years.
Excellent.
Well, Ray, thanks so much for coming on the program. We're up against the clock here, but thanks for making some time for us tonight. And it's great to talk to you. And don't be a stranger. We'd love to have you back on.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Just let me know when.
All right, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
See ya.
Thanks, Ray.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, folks. That's RayDonaldson, former Colt, Seahawk, and Cowboy. So it was
I thought
really,
he was going to get more into it with the Cowboys, but okay.
yeah, hey, we'll work on it. We'll get him on another time. But yeah,
I was
very
surprised.
nice.
Didn't you say he was trying to get it, quiz me or something on Cowboys?
No,
or
I
something?
was just telling that you were a big Cowboys fan. He was like,
Ah.
"Cool, bring it on."
Hey,
Yeah,
He makes a good point, Chris.
yeah,
People forget who makes things happen, right? Your running back thinks he's the greatest because he's getting all those yards, but he's got to be appreciative of his front line making those holes.
right.
Without those guys up front, without that beef up front, there is no hole.
No,
That's right. That's
I agree.
right.
When you like you said, like it's fascinating that folks in Dallas, like the superstars didn't like him, didn't even like hang out with him. It's
Well, he said about the line. He says they didn't hang out with them.
Yeah.
It's because they were just too good. But they got to realize where's your money at? You know what I'm saying? Your money's from those guys up front.
exactly. It's to me, it's like what? But
If I'm Emmett Smith, I'm giving those guys a Rolex when I'm winning that rushing title.
Yeah, and learning about Georgia, I thought when you hear stories about University of Georgia and the coach down there, the legendary coach, you hear mixed reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like fascinating. You have some people who praise him like he's like this first coming of Nick Saban, and then some of them like want to put him on a on a ship and send him out to to the Black Sea. It's like okay, it's like it's pretty cool to hear different opinions on different people.
Yes, it is. Yes. Yes.
It's not it's all that we hear all the good stuff, but people like him tonight, it was great to hear that he was upset moving from defensive lineman like Ray Lewis to a center. That's like sending you from being a first base, George, and like, hey, you're going to be a DH for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, got a little salty there.
And just remember, not everything written on the internet is true, Chris.
Hey, I was reading stuff, and I was saying
because when you look at his bio, it says he also played guard during his time in college.
That's where I picked up the guard part.
Yeah, and you see, and that's why it's so hard to believe what's really out there, what's truth.
Yeah, like I was interviewing the
himself. He goes, "Why does everyone keep saying I was a guard?"
Right. Well, it's on the internet. It's just one of those things. And
haven't you learned by now not to trust?
I know that, but I'm doing research, and I didn't have his phone number because I asked him to send me his phone number so I could talk to him and do some show prep, and get to know him a little bit better. Because I don't know his personality. I didn't know what he sounded a little grizzled, with the, it's like.
Yeah, but see, maybe Chris, the thing is, maybe he doesn't know what's out there.
Right.
And people can write things into bios and whatever, platform it is, and it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the risk.
Yeah, it is a risk. And I got burned twice because a couple of weeks ago I did the Preakness stuff, And there was a lady on the I talked to, the lady from the Bravo channel. They said she was on, judging Bobby Filet. That's on the Food Network. And I'm like, and she was like, no, I've never been on the Food Network. I'm like, well, that was up on the, on your page.
Yep.
So somebody is writing something wrong, or I'm not, we need to invest into a research department, because, or maybe we need to get their phone numbers ahead of time and call them and ask them what's true, what's not true. Because he asked me last night, like, he's like, are you going to talk about politics or religion? I'm like, we don't do that here.
Yeah. You should have asked him about the Super Bowl champion part, Chris.
Well, Well, the thing was, he wasn't really part of it. If you read the bio that I found, he was injured through 1995. And I don't want to bring that up because that could be a sore subject.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, he didn't play in the Super Bowl. He was sitting on the sidelines wearing a hat and, street clothes.
Yeah.
So anyway, so let me get that was a great, good to have some classic NFL there. We try to have classic people here on the program. Some NFL, some MLB, all that stuff. It's pretty cool. So let's bring in, let me get this gentleman on the phone. He's no stranger to Baltimore. He's former manager and Dave Trembley. So let me get him on here. He's on the telephone. He's getting ready for his first season up there at State College. So let me get Dave on the phone here.
Hello.
Hey, Dave. It's Chris Heidel from Herbertson Radio in Baltimore. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Chris?
Doing great. We're live on the program. So how's everything out there in State College? I know you're getting ready for you had practice today with the team, or how's everything going?
We've had some workouts the last 3 days, and the weather has been just outstanding. It's a beautiful facility here, and I've been very happy with the reception that we've gotten in the community and the front office here at State College Spikes. We got a workout tomorrow morning, and then Thursday we'll be heading in the afternoon to Williamsport. We open up Thursday evening at Bowman Field.
No, that must be cool. Bowman Field is one of those classic fields that you see a lot of. They had a lot of minor league baseball, and then Major League Baseball is using it for that Little League Classic now.
Yeah, that's a great idea that Major League Baseball has implemented. I was in, as you well know, I was in the Eastern League for a few years. So I've been to Bowman Field a few times back in the 80s when it was an affiliate of the Indians. So I'm looking forward to going back there, and I know all our players are excited about getting this season underway.
That's cool. George, you got a question for Dave?
So Dave, a question that I got is, we've talked to a lot of players about the major leagues and stuff, but how difficult is it just trying to be the skipper of a Major League Baseball team?
Well, I tell you, it is. It's a challenge, I think, at every level, because you're getting players from so many different backgrounds and the level of play that you're getting now. I think you have to kind of balance implementing the team approach and, individual statistics and performance is very much in the center and forefront of the players. But the guys are all professional, and, I know here at State College, just the 3 days we've had an opportunity to interact with the players that we have. Everybody's been very receptive. I think they want to learn and improve, and we're here to teach baseball fundamentals and the team approach and be very positive and support these players as they're trying to, showcase themselves, so to speak, for the Major League Draft. That's the premise of this league. It's the Major League Baseball Draft League, and they're going to play 40 games before the draft in July, and hopefully they can impress some people so that they can have an opportunity to continue their careers.
That's cool. Dave, I got a question. Looking at your roster, who stands out on your roster? A lot of people know these are college kids who played college baseball this year, and now they're on trying to get drafted in the MLB. Is there any pitchers that you've seen or batters that you've seen doing your research going, wow, this guy's a good hitter. He might be somebody that might be drafting?
Well, I've watched, the players on video, and I live in Daytona Beach, Florida, and we get a lot of college games down there on the ACC network and the SEC network, and I'll go watch the Pac-10, the Big Ten. So seen a lot of guys on video, but I think before you start, making evaluations on the players, are going to have to see them in games and see them in person. I know the pitchers are very fortunate. We have Jim Gott, who is a tremendous major league pitcher for a long time, as our pitching coach. So I know he's going to instruct and teach and take care of the pitchers, and we're going to do everything we can to put these guys in a position to succeed. And I know last year the draft league was very successful. They had many, many, many players, and it's only 6 teams in this league, and they had a lot of guys that were drafted. So I think those things will take care of themselves. I think, scouts today and the way the information is handed out is available. Mm-hmm. They know who the players are. They start identifying these guys when they're 16, 17 years old. They're juniors and seniors in high school. Wow. So these guys are all now draft eligible. Most of them have completed their junior year of college or have completed 2 years of junior college. So we'll see what happens. And maybe the next time you and I talk, I'll be able to kind of pinpoint some guys a little bit better and say, hey, watch this guy because I think he's got a chance to be a real good player.
Yeah. I was just looking at your roster. You have a couple kids who played in the regionals this weekend, like, Griffin Miller, the pitcher for Oklahoma. And then you have Higgins, who's from Virginia Tech. They're playing in the what is the mindset for those guys? They're probably going to be joining them as soon as they get they don't want to be eliminated, but, you're waiting for them to come join you.
Yeah, I've talked to Higgy. He's from Virginia Tech. He's from Buffalo is where he's from. Oh. But we had some guys just join us today that were in regional tournaments or conference tournaments. They just got done on Sunday. So I think a few more guys will trickle in. We've got a couple junior college players that are out at Grand Junction, Colorado, playing in the Junior College World Series. So when they get their season completed, they'll be here the next day. I know I've spoken to all of them 2 or 3 times. They're anxious to get going, but my premise to them is, you got a special opportunity to play in College World Series or tournament or regionals, and I hope you run the table because it's a special opportunity for them.
Exactly. Adam, you had a question?
Yeah. First of all, is there one particular person that you'll be watching this weekend? As the NCAA baseball regionals are happening, is there one particular person that you hope is on your team after their season is done?
Well, after their season is done, I'm hoping they'll be here in a couple days, and we'll find out when guys pitch last and give them proper rest. And I know Jim would want to see those guys in the bullpen throw a bullpen or two, and myself, I want to get them out in the field and make them feel comfortable, and then we'll get them in the game. There's only 40 games, so you want to get these guys in the games as soon as you can and give them an opportunity to show what they can do.
Yeah. Dave, I was looking at the rules. It's pretty cool. Starting Tuesday, all Tuesday games, the first half of the season, from June 2nd to July 16th, is 7 innings. That must be a little different for you guys, because you've been managing 9 innings, maybe extra innings. What do you do for 7 innings? You try and, in that your mindset, you don't want to, you want to have some of your starters go a couple, 3 innings, maybe 2 innings. You don't want them to have, you could have somebody go all 7. That'd be cool.
Well, last year in the Appalachian League, which was, run by MLB as well, and it was for college freshmen and sophomores, every Sunday was a 7-inning game, and every Monday was off. So really it was done, I think, from a injury prevention standpoint. These guys have been playing baseball for a long time. A lot of them have played all last summer. They do travel ball, perfect game, showcase. They go to their colleges and they practice and play right up until Thanksgiving. And then they start playing, they start practicing again in January. They played 55 to 65 games in college. They've played a lot of baseball. I think when they come here, I think it's a great thing that every Tuesday is a 7-inning game. You can back off your pitching a little bit. I think it gives you an opportunity to regroup, especially the guys in the bullpen. You can stay away from, which we will do, of using guys back-to-back days, and you can really limit guys' pitch counts. And I think the best way to do it in the 7-inning games is, I'm sure you've heard the term before, you can basically piggyback and have 2 guys split the game, and it really saves your bullpen down the road. And also, I think the wear and tear, because, if you look at our roster, we'll have 12 or 14 position players tops. Those guys are going to be playing every day. And I think if you can give them a little bit of a blow, I think it's good for them in the long run.
That's true. We were here with State College head coach Dave Trembley, who used to be here in Baltimore with the Orioles, but now his new job up there at State College, Pennsylvania. What's it like, that ballpark? Right next to Penn State, and it's beautiful.
Oh, people ought to take a trip here to State College. This is a tremendous facility. Medler Park at Medler Field at Lebrano Park. It's in the shadows of the football facility and the basketball arena and hockey arena. It is a tremendous facility. I know at the end of our season, there's a multi-million-dollar project where they're going to renovate, put in all new grass, video board, and more seats and concession areas. But the clubhouse and the amenities for the players, they have 2 indoor turfed cages lit. The field is immaculate. The concessions, the seat, it's as good as any AAA facility that I've ever been in. And the clubhouse for the players with a lounge and a dining room and video equipment, training room, weight room. This is Penn State. And the locker room facility is outstanding. Penn State has their own locker room facility, and because there used to be a team here in the New York Penn League, there's a separate whole locker room here for a third team on the Penn State side. So we're not interfering in taking over Penn State's locker room or their facilities. There's a separate area for, laundry, training room, weight room, locker room, coach's room, manager's room. And it's just really a really pretty setting. Out in center field, the backdrop is amazing. There's Mount Nittany back there. I think the guy, and they have a mini, because this used to be an affiliate of the Pirates, they have a mini replica of the wall in right field in Pittsburgh, and the dimensions are the same as PNC Park.
Oh, that's cool.
As it was in Pittsburgh. The 21-foot high wall for Clemente in right field. They have it at 1755 here because I think that was the year Penn State was founded. But it's a gorgeous, gorgeous facility. And I know a lot of our guys, the first day they got out here and looked at it, especially the guys from the Midwest who played in, cold and rain and snow all spring, they came here and we're just so impressed.
That's awesome. Adam, you have one last question?
I was looking at your promo schedule, and you're having Penn State quarterback Sean Clifford, I believe, is throwing out the first pitch on Friday night. So, what's it going to be like to have the star of Penn State there for you guys on opening night?
I believe if I've, communicated with Scott Walker, who's our general manager here, and Dan Prezzolazzo, who's assistant GM, and Joe Putnam, who's director of communications, does all the games on the radio for us. They have an array of events and special nights. I think every Friday is a fireworks night. I know Steve Jones, who's been the voice of Penn State basketball and football for over 40 years. He helps out with the announcing. And I'm looking forward to meeting the Penn State quarterback and some other Penn State people. I've already met some players from their baseball team that are still coming here. They're taking some summer classes and they're working out when we're done. So it's just a great, great opportunity, and for us to mingle and be around and have our players exposed to, some athletes that play at Penn State at the highest level, Division I football, basketball, baseball. I think it's just a great opportunity for our players to learn and grow from that.
That's cool, Dave. Well, Dave, it's only a 4-hour drive where we are here in Cockeysville, so I might, make a trip up there on the weekends if I'm off and see you guys up there, because that stadium is really beautiful, right next to the football stadium, and it's like that parking lot is huge. You could literally park a lot of people and you can still get out.
Yeah, they said that last year when on special events, or a lot of times, they were drawing 4,000 and 5,000 a night. Last year when they had fireworks on the 4th of July, they had 8,000 people. This is a really nice setting, and it has been very well received in the community here. It's a big part of State College, I think, especially in the summer. and I believe that it will be supported, and the players will really be appreciative of the opportunity and the reception that they get here. It's it's Penn State. It's first class all the way.
That's true. Well, Dave, thanks so much for coming on tonight. Good luck, safe travels to Williamsport, and I hope to see you when you come to Frederick. Hopefully I'm available on the 28th of June when you guys come to town, and we'll catch up before the game.
I'll look forward to meeting you, and call me anytime. It's always great to catch up with yourself and the great people and baseball fans in Baltimore.
All right,
Thanks
Dave.
a million.
Thanks for coming on. Good luck.
Thanks, Coach.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Coach.
What a nice guy.
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like he got a raw deal here in Baltimore.
Well, that's kind of why I asked the question I did, Chris. I wasn't going to be negative with them, but there's so many different personalities that are on those rosters. You know, he inherited a team, and it's hard getting personalities to get along.
Right. Exactly. I agree. And it's hard. And when you have prim and down of money, people who make more money than you and I dream of, who don't want to practice today because they don't feel well, or why you send me down to AAA because I'm batting 190, but I have a contract worth $5.6 million. It's
Right.
like come on, give me a break.
Yep.
And I just feel like I think he was put in just to get Buck Showalter to show up. It's sad.
Possible.
Possible. And. I think he should get another opportunity in Major Leagues, but I'm glad he's there in State College, and he's like, he thinks he went to the Taj Mahal with the stadium. It's like, that's a great thing, and that's great for him. That's great that he makes him feel like he's back being what he was, because, Steve and I know, here in Baltimore, they tore him to shreds. It's like it was not happy for him. And I showed you a clip of him getting ejected from Seattle. It's funny, the Orioles are playing Seattle tonight, so it's kind of weird, But
And no surprises for as much Orioles fan as I am. They're losing right now, 8-0.
8-0. Hey, still early. Yeah.
Fourth inning.
Hey, they came back Friday night down 8-0. So they did it in Boston, so they could do it. Anybody could do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So coming up around 8:45, we got some time here to talk. We here on the program now until the start of kickoff in the NFL. We're gonna preview some of the Ravens games, and last week we did the Jets and Ravens. Week 2, it's going to be a home opener between the Baltimore Ravens and the Miami Dolphins at M&T Bank Stadium. So we got a guy who does a podcast on YouTube, and it's a really funny name. His name is Doug. But it's DouglieDoWrong, not DouglieDoRight. DouglieDoWrong. But
That's his brother.
That's his brother. That's his coworker. But this baseball league, back to the MLB draft league. It seems like it's going to be great. It's going to be good for these towns that lost baseball, back watching baseball during the summertime, and and like you said, the crowds were pretty good last year. That he heard.
You got some pretty good names though of these. We've had a couple of those coaches on the show, Chris.
Yeah, I'm working on that, trying to get them on.
We've had a couple on too, right?
Yeah, we're going to try to get next week. I'm probably going to go to some of the Keys games because they're only like maybe an hour where I am, and go see if I could talk to Dennis Rasmussen, who used to play the pitching coach for the Keys, who used to be a Yankee.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Yankee, Padre, and a Kansas City Royal. Maybe we'll send that to ChrisBarnes.
There you go.
Stir the pot, why don't you?
Hey, hey, we make it to the World Series, and the Royals making it. Maybe I have a little wager with them. Maybe ChrisBarnes and I do a bowling match. Wonder if they will.
Well, I'm putting $100 on ChrisBarnes if that.
Oh, he's probably gonna run me out of the building. Come on now.
I will.
Make a stipulation. He has to give you a 100-pin handicap.
There you go, Steve.
9-pin no cap.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah. 100-pin no cap. 100-pin.
No cap. Yeah. Hey,
yeah. So
that's about what I had to give him the one time I bowled against him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What did I give you? Because I gave you like a 60-pin handicap.
Probably, yeah. You probably did. You still beat me. Dude, you were bowling every week. I bowl like one. I used to bowl every Saturday, but I didn't get a chance to now I don't bowl all the time, but you used to bowl every Wednesday night, and you were still doing it for after 2-3 years ago.
I stopped doing leagues in 2014.
Oh my God, that long?
Yeah, that's what I say. It's been 9 years.
I was thinking I thought he did more than that.
Since I bowled on a league.
Yeah. So let's give you a score update for the I'm watching the MLB TV. The Reds are beating the Red Sox 1-0. That's the 1975 World Series preview, but it's not the World Series preview. We don't have Louis Tion and Carly Yastrzemski playing for both sides, But yeah, man, the Reds they're actually doing better than they thought they were. They were talking about having the worst season in the Major League Baseball. So, Johan Santana night at Citi Field. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. I still think I think that whole George, you probably agree, and Adam, you probably agree, that no hitter that he pitched really ruined his career.
Yes. I agree with that, Chris.
Yeah. I think he gave it all he had just to be the guy to pitch a no for the Mets, the first one. I think if they could do it all over again, I think he might just go 8 innings. Save his arm, but he pushed himself, and I think after that you saw him went on the DL, and then the Orioles had him for a couple months, and then the Twins had him for a couple months, and now he's just out of the game. But it's that's what no hitters do to people. They're like the guy from the Mets who just pitched that combined no hitter. He's on the DL.
Yeah,
it's like it's great to pitch a no hitter, but you got to make sure you got your body ready for it.
Yeah, very true, Chris. Very true.
I'm not a fan of pitch counts either, especially early in the season.
No, just let him pitch. I look at him. Let him pitch. Let him get him out of situations instead of God forbid they get to 85 pitches and in the second inning. So what? Let him pitch. Like Nolan Ryan used to pitch. There was one stat I got. He pitched 12 innings, pitched over 200 pitches, won the ball game. Came back 5 days later and pitched 157 pitches.
Wow.
And you didn't see Nolan Ryan, who never really had Tommy John surgery or anything. He just worked out a lot. Let's bring up those Advil commercials.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Chris, if you look at NCAA softball pitchers, you could see him pitch 150 pitches in one game, and then next time out they could only throw 50 pitches. It depends.
I know. Hey, I agree with you. It's the softball pitchers. I called my dad one time. I said, Dad, there's a lady who's pitching, and it's up to 100. She's pitching. It's 160 pitches right now, and she's in the 8th inning. My dad goes, damn. I was like, yeah. I was like, you don't see that in Major League Baseball. He goes, nope, you don't see that anymore.
No.
You don't see that anymore. So, so hold on a second. I got to bring this up. Yeah. We're talking about Nolan Ryan. Let's bring him up here. The window. Hold on a second. I hate these promo commercials. Hold on.
If I want to keep playing baseball, I'm going to have to keep working. There's no off season anymore. Every day it's just me and a pile of iron or a bike I ride forever. And when I get sore, I take Advil. It's strong. It works. And I know it helps. And Advil's gentler on my stomach than aspirin. To last as long as I have, you got to stick with what works. That's why I use Advil.
Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Wow, that is old school.
Right. I saw that. I found that. I was like, we got to put that on.
Yeah.
I got an ache and pain in my shoulder. I'm pretty good. Hold on. We're going wild. Hold on. No, we're not talking that.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Advil.
or sponsored by Advil, and before that was sponsored by we had some not old people on the program, but Geritol or
Chris, that's not nice.
It's not nice.
Yeah, Chris, what's the matter with you?
Chris. Thanks, Dave, for hitting him. Thank you.
Steve.
See you later. I told you the story about. I didn't tell it real quick before we get Doug in here for the. Let's bring him in right now in a minute. But real quick, my quick story. I went down to my brother Will surprised me for a Neil Diamond concert, and I seriously said this. He goes, "We drove past Capital One Arena." And he goes, "Wow, Neil Diamond's in town." I was like, "Why is everybody outside?" I said, "Maybe the first 1,000 people get free Advil or Ben Gay." And then he realized I was going to the concert after that. But it was like, I'm thinking like Neil Diamond is sponsored by Advil.
No, they're there for the early bird.
Yeah, the
Early bird special, yeah.
Exactly.
I thought it was Denny's.
Denny's, yeah. It's the original Grand Slam. My parents love that stuff. So anyway, we always talk food here, Doug, on the program here. Doug, we always talk food. Like we bring up, Denny's. Some nights we talk about what's on George's grill. I
think George is just trying to sit there thinking, like, if I could reach this computer and slap you, I would.
Hey, I have never met George in public, and I'm afraid the first time I put my hand out, hey, George, give him a hug, he's gonna go, wham!
The first time he would have met me, he took my damn seat at the press box.
Oh my God!
Down in Texas.
I didn't even know him. I get a pass for Doug. I get a pass for the Cotton Bowl, and I heard like later down the road, he tells me the story. He goes, "Yeah, you put me in the basement of the Cotton Bowl in Dallas." I'm like, "What?" I was like, why were you in the basement? He goes, "Because somebody took my spot." I'm like, I didn't know who you're talking to. I just go. So, Doug, you do a show on YouTube about the Miami Dolphins, DouglieDoWrong. I love that title because it sounds like something my dad says to me all the time, like Dougley Do Right. So, how did you get the title of the show? Where'd you come up with it?
So a while back, I was hanging out with my friends, and my friend went to call me ugly, and my name is Doug. So he called me Dougley, and I for some reason it kept ringing through my head, and I thought of Dudley Do Right, and I was like, well, if I'm ugly, I'm obviously going to be the opposite of do right. So then DouglieDoWrong came up, and it's stuck for the past 4 years. So can't change it now.
That's funny, but it's a great name. I was looking at it on YouTube trying to find because you have all these different podcasters, and they say like, oh, I'm, and I'm like, oh, this looks pretty cool, and then we got lights flickered in this place. I don't know what's going on here, but anyway, probably one of the spirits in this house, probably. Anyway, but but it's pretty cool to see these people have different podcasts, and when you go on some of them, it's like they just sit in their living room and go, hi, I talk about the Cowboys, and they don't even cover the Cowboys, they just take footage. But so you've been a Dolphins fan how long?
I will be 35 September. About 30 years. Yeah. Oh, wow. Since I was about 5, I started being a Dolphins fan. Really started following them once you were old enough to really recognize what you're looking at. So about 7, 8. Been a Dolphin fan my entire life because of my father. And me and my dad have never lived in Florida. We're Bayonne, New Jersey, born and raised. Not once have ever lived in Florida. We've been to Florida, never lived there. And we were both diehard Dolphin fans.
That's cool. Yeah, my brother Matt was a big Dan Marino fan, and he loved Dan Marino when he was a young kid, and we saw him down at old Memorial Stadium when the Ravens were in town, and we stayed in line for 2.5 hours for tickets, and we were sitting all the way up at upper deck, and he was like, "Is that Dan Marino down there?" I was like, "Yeah, that's Dan." He goes, "It's great to see his arm." I was like, "No, you're too far back." So anyway, so we have you on the program because you do a lot of Dolphin stuff. Week 2, Ravens take on the Dolphins at M&T Bank Stadium, and this is basically a rematch from last year when the Dolphins ran Lamar Jackson out of Miami, in his hometown, and beat him on a Thursday Night Football.
Super surprising. I don't think anyone really saw that game coming. Dolphins are coming off 7-game losing streak. beat the Texans, then prime time against the Ravens. No one saw it. Like I was like, there's no way the Dolphins are going to beat the Ravens prime time. They was choke on prime time. I don't know what it was. The defense. I don't know what happened to the defense. They just woke up and they knew how to contain Lamar and just took that game over completely.
Well, if you remember a few years back, the year the Dolphins had their 1-16 record, that was their only win was against the Ravens.
Yep. Greg
They got
Camarilla.
Brian Billick fired. Brian Billick was like, "Say it, I got fired." Yeah, but these Miami Ravens games, the Dolphins and Ravens are pretty good, except for at one time when I think somebody knocked Joe Flacco out, and I think it was.
That was Kiko Alonso. He slid so like at the last minute, slid. Kiko went to hit him, knocked him out completely. It was such a bad hit.
It was a game on Thursday Night Football, and I think after this game, I think Lamar basically went on the he played in Pittsburgh and then went on the DL afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about the Dolphins draft this year? They lost. They sent one of our friends. We had a guy. There's a guy from Baltimore who played for the Dolphins, Hollins.
Okay.
Who, he's from over here. We had him on the show. Now he's out in Vegas, with the Raiders. So he was part of that offense last year. So what's the plan for? And now you got Hill, who's basically, I guess the ownership spent the entire country club on him to come to Miami. So I guess you got a good number one receiver.
Yeah, the Dolphins, they gave up a good. It's funny because the trade for Hill wasn't that crazy. If you really look at what they gave up a first and a second this year, and then a fourth and a fifth for this year and next year. So that's about, like, to me, it's like they essentially gave up like a first and like 2 twos, if anything, with the amount of where the picks are. It's huge. I did not see that happening, and the Dolphins were in works for that for a week. And it's so funny. Chris Greer came out and he said, we're going to be aggressive this year in free agency and blah, blah, blah. And a lot of Dolphin fans were getting really upset because from our point of view, he wasn't being aggressive. He was re-signing a lot of players, Emmanuel Ogbah, franchise tag, Mike Gesicki. Then he brings in Edmonds. He brings in Mostert. He's making moves, but he's not being aggressive. We're seeing really good players going to places. J.C. Jackson went to Chargers for like ridiculous money. And a lot of Dolphins are getting real impatient. Then all of a sudden, Tyreek Hill's on the trade block. Literally an hour later, he gets traded to Miami. And all of a sudden, everyone's like, well, there's the aggression we were looking for. But in his press conference, he was like, the Friday after free agency started is when they were in talks about trying to trade for Tyreek Hill. So they wanted him from jump, and they were being super aggressive about it. And I think he's going to really help out this offense, him with Waddle. And then people are really looking past Cedric Wilson, who they got from the Cowboys. He's that type of receiver. He can take it over the top. Mm-hmm. I think this addition, along with Teron Armstead, is really going to help this offense out. And hopefully we get to see the two of that the Dolphins wanted when they took him at 5th overall.
Yeah. George, you got a question for Doug?
So, Doug, the Dolphins last year go 9-8. Tua, he didn't do too bad. I thought he had a pretty good season. Mm. A lot of teams in the NFL, I mean, I just can't believe how many teams are out there that don't have good protection on their quarterback. I mean, that's the franchise, right? You got to put folks out there on the line that are going to protect them. I'm going to bring up a guy because, obviously, you can see I'm from Notre Dame, the Notre Dame area. I actually covered Notre Dame football. You guys got two pretty good players down there in Miami with Smythe and with Liam Eichenberg.
I really like Durham Smythe. Durham Smythe is like, to me, he kind of reminds me of Anthony Fasano. He's that type of tight end that's going to, find that empty spot and like really, he's had like 500 and something receiving yards last year. Like he's very sneaky and he's a great inline blocker, very good 1-2 combination with Gesicki. And when we took Liam, I was like, oh, okay, because they traded up for Liam, and Creed Humphreys was still on the board, all that stuff. So when they took Liam, I was like, okay, let me see who this guy is. And then I saw that he didn't give up a sack for like 2 years, and I was like, wow, this guy's good. And he struggled Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He struggled. His arm length is a little bit of an issue, especially playing tackle. I wouldn't be surprised if he competes to play center for the Dolphins. But I'm not really, like, my assessment of this offensive line that the Dolphins had last year, which is one of the worst I've ever seen in a very long time. I'm going to kind of throw it out the window because they had an offensive line coach who has never coached an offensive line before. And now this year they get Applebaum out of Boston College, who had one of the best offensive lines in college football. And they bring in Ryan Grant, who was the offensive line coach for the Chargers, now their OC. So if these two guys, along with Connor Williams and Teron Armstead on the left side, if they can put this line back together, and then we'll really see what we can do with Austin Jackson. Robert Hunt already showed what he can do. Yeah, the Ravens game where he took the ball and thought he could score when he wasn't eligible, landed on his head. So there's two pieces missing on the offensive line, and for Tua, it's scary because one of them is the right tackle, which is his blind side. So I think that's going to be a big competition with Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg for that right tackle position, and we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah. And if I can follow up really quick, Chris, Smythe is one of those quiet, like you're saying, he's one of those quiet guys. He's not a flashy guy. He's not looking for all the attention in the media. He comes in, he carries his lunch pail, he does his thing, and he goes home. He does what he's asked to do.
Yeah, and he fits so well, especially I noticed a lot of his chunk yardage and a lot of his production came from him blocking and then releasing, because that's what they expected. Once Durham Smythe goes in there, they're like, oh, they're going to run the ball, so he's going to block and he's not going to go out but he'd block and he'd go out on a nice quick out route to drop the ball off to him. He'd get about 13 yards, and you do that every once in a while. And the Dolphins were at like 2nd and 15, 2nd and 11. They just dump the ball off to him. No one would be there because he's a big guy. So if there's a guy in front of him, he's like, all right, I'm still going to get these 3 yards I need because I'm going to put my helmet right into your chest. So I like Liam. Durham. I'm very happy they re-signed him too.
But that's what they're expected to do as a tight end at Notre Dame. That's the role. I mean, the tight ends, they don't get to see the ball too much, but when they do, it's I'm not going to say it's a surprise to the defense, but your first job is to be that extra blocker.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It's funny, too, because back when I played football, I actually wanted, like when I was a little kid, I wanted to go to Notre Dame. I wanted to play football at Notre Dame. And I never saw the movie Rudy, so it's not even like Rudy was a hero of mine. I just, for some reason, really liked Notre Dame, and I wanted to play there.
Awesome.
Hey, Adam, you got a question for Doug?
Yeah, before I get started, I got to say, I have a coworker who is a huge Miami Dolphins fan, and it's like, Chris, he does not like Florida State at all. He's raised in Miami, so it's like he's a huge Hurricane fan, so he knows I love Florida State, so he doesn't like the Seminoles at all. But I got to ask you, Doug, right now, do you think the Dolphins have a shot to maybe get past the Patriots in the second place in the AFC East? Because we all know right now the team in the division is the Buffalo Bills. I mean, do you think the Dolphins have a shot to get by the Patriots and move into second place this year?
Yeah, I think that is, like, for me, like if I went off the top of my head looking at their schedule and the additions and everything that all the AFC East teams made, I do think the Dolphins are the second best in the division right now, because who does Mac Jones have to throw to, right? They trade for Devontae Parker, who, as a Dolphin fan, that man cannot stay healthy if his life depended on it. And the Dolphins swept the Patriots last year, so I'm not really worried about the Patriots at all. It's more, for me, it's Buffalo. Like that's where, and that could be the downfall of Dolphin fans, because we're looking past the Jets, we're looking past the Patriots. They're not worried about them. It's Buffalo. We got to take on Buffalo. We got to at least split with Buffalo. So. Yeah, I think the Patriots aren't that big of a problem for the Dolphins.
Yeah, Doug, I got to ask you a question about the coaching, issue. Brian Flores got a raw deal. I feel like he was doing really well. You lost 7 games in a row. Okay, but you turn it around and you got an opportunity to be in the postseason, and then all of a sudden you hear these allegations that the ownership wanted him to, lose games so they get better draft picks. I feel like that's childish. Yeah, like why are you asking a grown man to lose games? I think coaches want to win games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think if you're a coach at Miami or in Notre Dame, you want to have a losing record. You want to have a winning record so you get that big payday. And hearing all this garbage about he did this and did that. What's your take on that? And you being a Dolphins fan, it must have really upset you that thinking Brian Flores was doing a great job.
I honestly thought I didn't think Brian Flores was going to make it past the Falcons game. Once we lost to the Jaguars and then we lost to the Falcons, I thought he was going to be fired after that game. The fact that he made it to the end of the season, I was genuinely surprised. But the fact that he made it to the end of the season, he turned it around 7 straight, won 8 of the last 9. There were some things though behind the scenes, and there were some things that I was surprised it happened, because if you win 8 of your last 9, it kind of seems like you sealed your fate to stay with the team.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the 1-7 start. It's the misuse of the players. A lot of times he would take Mike Gesicki off the field. Assistants not wanting to work with him. The offensive line problems. Like there's so many things that as a head coach, you like, if us as players can notice it, you as a head coach can notice it too. Like he let Eric Flowers walk. He let 2 other offensive linemen walk who end up playing much better with a different team. And then he hires a guy who never coached the offensive line before to be the offensive line coordinator. So it's like, what's going on there? He has essentially 3 offensive coordinators trying to help Tua out by confusing the crap out of him. There was a lot of miscommunication. The Titans game, they asked Mike Gesicki, did you guys game plan for that game? He said no. Then they asked him, well, did you make adjustments at halftime? He said no. And it's like that game alone, where the Dolphins lost that game and essentially got knocked out of the playoffs, you're playing in 20-mile-an-hour winds, rain and snow. You had Tua throw it 35 times. That's your game plan. Whereas the Titans had Ryan Tannehill throw it 17 times. It's like, what's going on? And then the next week you beat the Patriots by running the ball and have Tua throw it 15 times. It's like there was a lot of things that weren't connecting. So like I said, it was a surprise he got fired because he won a big chunk of games. But then on the other hand, all the stuff I know and all the behind the scenes stuff, it's not as surprising.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's going to be hopefully a good football season for Miami, and hopefully they get back to the postseason. And week 2 in Baltimore, hopefully it'll be a better, it might be a competitive game with it's an afternoon start at 1:00, and it's actually mid-September. It should be a little bit warmer. And I know this area during September, you don't even know. Some days you might be in the 70s on a Sunday, and it might be in the 50s. Yeah. That's Maryland weather for you. But what's going on with your YouTube page? What are you doing this week on your show, and how can people get a chance to watch you?
Right now I'm essentially getting ready for training camp. They still have a few more OTAs coming up, mandatory mini camp on Wednesday and Thursday. And then we got that dead time like July where it's just there's nothing going on. So I have some videos going on here and there. If you want to check me out, it's youtube.com/DouglieDoWrong. And also my Twitter handle is DouglieDoWrong. If you want to find me anywhere, it's DouglieDoWrong. I'm very easy to find. It's a very weird name.
That sounds like fun. Well, Doug, thanks for coming on, and enjoy the rest of your summer. And hopefully we'll talk to you a little bit more when we're getting close to week 2 of the NFL schedule, being Ravens and Dolphins.
Definitely. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on.
Doug.
See ya. Thanks for Doug to come on. It's great. I just feel like Brian Flores got a raw deal. It's just he was doing really. I felt like he was behind the 8 ball in the first place because he was a Bill Belichick disciple. And a lot of Belichick disciples don't do really well after leaving the nest.
Well, think about this though too. Even with the coaching carousel that was going on, that wasn't the only controversy he was involved with, right? There was the whole. I thought I was talking to so and so, and about he got a whole bunch of raw deals, and it I don't know. I just hate when people bring the race card thing into this, because I believe that you're brought into a role based upon your merit,
right,
and in your ability. And you can't always say, well, it's because I'm particular so and so, and that's why I'm not getting the job. You know, you were done wrong. Your team turned it around. Granted, they started off slow, but they turned it around and they finished above 500, which is still better than the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, better than the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
But it's just brutal. It's just, I don't know. There's so much stuff to everything today when it comes to what's going on in sports and how sports interacts with just life in general. It's just too much parallelism.
Yeah. And I feel like, I think the Dolphins are better than the Lions because I think the Lions haven't won a playoff game since I was in middle school.
Well, that's why they're going to have the Super Bowl in Detroit.
It'd be the biggest fan base that's ever showed up at a Detroit sports event.
Well, the funny thing is, this baseball stadium is right next to Ford Field, so it's like during September, nobody really goes to Lion games. They stay over in the Comerica Park just to watch a better ball club because I think by then the Tigers are out of the postseason, but still, it's still good baseball.
Yeah.
So it is 9:05 here on the program. We are staying on for an extra half an hour because we're waiting for Coach Wilson, who you might know Coach Wilson from Bowie State University, who was the coach for Bowie State. But I got this message the other day on my phone that he is becoming the new coach at MorganState. So I didn't know they needed a coach. I thought the coach Willie.
Why didn't you put your hat in the ring?
I don't think my resume of me winning 4 Madden Super Bowl titles really helped me get a college gig.
It's 4 more than the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. So what is your criteria? Well, I was undefeated in Madden 2021.
It's something.
Yeah, right, George. It's like you could be like George. You could be like George. You could be like George O'Leary. Fake that you went to one college, and then he got fired. He was supposed to be the Notre Dame guy, right?
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, and until somebody does a background check, and then you go, "Oh crap!" Like,
yep.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, but you can buy fake diplomas online anyway. So
sure can.
Yeah. Speaking of regionals, we got coming up. Maryland is actually hosting a regional for baseball, first time ever down there at College Park. They'll be taking on Long Island University this coming Friday night, 7:00 down there at College Park. That's going to be a great game for the city, for College Park, because Maryland baseball, they won their first ever conference championship. It's first time since 1971, and when they were in the ACC. That's been a long time trying to get back to where you were. And so they have a regional with Long Island, and also in their regional they got Wake Forest and UConn. So we were talking off the mic. I guess UConn is happy to have a baseball team that does better than the football squad.
Hey, you know what? There's really there's no football team. There's a women's basketball team, and there's baseball. Yeah,
the women's basketball team is the team in up there in Connecticut. What's his name? He does a great job up there.
Oriella.
Yeah, he's almost like Nick Saban of basketball for the women's side.
He's a great coach. He's an even better guy not on the court. Having spent time with him outside of basketball at personal family events and having coach around.
Cool.
He's really, really a nice guy off the court.
Nice.
But when you get him on the court, he's all business. So you just don't mess with a guy in his office.
Exactly. It's like you, George. When you get off of work, your kids are happy you're off of work, because you're a dad, But when you go to work, you're George. You're the
They got
George.
the best of me. The work got the best of me today.
Uh-oh. Hey, I was outside yesterday moving mulch for in 90-degree weather for work and 8 hours, and it was grueling, but I got through it. And I walked back in to get in. We had a little cookout at work, and I walked back in, and this lady looked at me and goes, "You look like crap." I'm like, "Thanks." Yeah. Same to you. Yeah, no,
You don't look so good yourself.
And I'm like, I'm coming in like sweaty and nasty, and she goes, "You look like somebody hit you with a truck." I'm thinking like, have you ever heard of physical labor? Yeah, I was like,
They mistook him for a Mexican.
oh, I wasn't that dirty. Come on. Jeez. We don't offend anything here in this program. So, folks, if you want to send us a message and report us to the right authorities,
His name is Chris Heidel.
Yeah.
He spells it for you on the screen.
or you could be like, Adam, I know this guy.
Gee, thanks, Chris. I think.
I can see it now. It'll be on World News tonight. Like, see this guy? He's wanted because he's talking bad stuff on his program. Oh. Yeah. Hey George, I'm trying to get you ratings so people can join your program.
Be careful.
Yeah. Hey, your program's pretty. So what's going on with your? We got time for Coach. We're waiting for Coach Wilson to join us. I guess being a MorganState head coach, there's a lot of more responsibilities right now, trying to catch up with everybody and all that stuff. But I did text him this morning. So.
Well, I was gonna say he was talking about his Florio with his throwing the ball versus running the ball in the nasty weather. I said, yep, I can kind of relate to that. Certain Notre Dame versus Michigan game.
Oh yeah.
My first time to the big house, and oh boy, was it the big house.
Hey, you went there? How cool? How cool was it? Was it cool?
It was cool, but it was wet.
Wet.
Soaked. You couldn't ask for a worse game to play than in those conditions. And,
did it look like huge when you drove in? You're like, whoa, this thing's huge. Like, damn. Or.
Well, let's just say the M for mud stain is true. It's rather large.
You're still finding mud for like how many years ago? Yeah, you're still finding mud, and you're like, geez, where'd that come from? Yeah.
What year was that, George? You went to the big house?
2019.
Thank you. I'll have to look that game up on YouTube.
Don't worry. Don't look it up. No.
All right.
Don't look it up.
There was problems within the football organization at the University of Notre Dame.
Oh, now I remember.
Yeah.
Certain offensive coordinator.
The cheerleading squad, did they, George?
What's that?
Didn't ask you to join the cheerleading squad. Did they recruit you?
No, not that day. There was a couple other times.
What day was it, George?
Oh
my God, we're having so much fun here.
I'm going to insert the Fifth
Were you
Amendment.
the top of the pyramid or the bottom of the
Oh
pyramid?
my God.
I'm always on top.
I swear, folks, the first time I meet George in public, I'm not going to get a handshake. I'm probably going to get a shot in the gut. It'd be like Major League, some movie, like, hey, how you doing? What's that for, man? All the comments on the video. So anyway, we're still waiting for. I think Coach Wilson probably had stuff to do. We'll get him on before the season.
There was a little bit of controversy in the Field of 64 though this week.
I'll just say Notre Dame deserved to host a regional, and they did not host a regional, and it still makes me mad.
Yep.
Yeah,
They should have been hosting. And once again, I'm just going to say, when people talk about the NCAA and money, in the end, that's what they're talking about. It's about where can I put lots of people in the seats and bring in some cash.
Yep.
Because Notre Dame doesn't have those facilities. Do they need them? Absolutely.
Yes, they
They
do.
absolutely need the facilities.
Amen, George. Amen to that.
They've more than proven themselves the last 2 seasons about being able to win games.
Mm-hmm.
It'll help a little bit more in the recruiting department, I think, as far as that's concerned. But completely shafted. You know,
I feel like that baseball. I was watching the game on Saturday, between North Carolina and Notre Dame, and it was 2-2 going into the top of the 8th, or bottom. I think it was top of the 8th, and I just felt like the bullpen wasn't there. I think it was just tired. When you're pitching, you play how many games per season? This time of the year you're running out of gas. You got to get more of that energy, and sometimes the heat and humidity and all that garbage.
Your strength of schedule, your RPI, okay, has to speak for itself.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, I think they got a little bit of the shaft there because of their facilities. And hopefully the university will recognize it and they can address the issue.
Exactly.
They have the room. Well, I shouldn't say they have the room. They have the money. You got an architecture college.
Mm-hmm.
You can figure it out. How do I do with what I have in that area? What can I do to build it up around it?
Yeah. Well, speaking of, we'll talk to Coach Wilson down the road. We'll get him sometime, before the start of the season. I guess right now being, just being named head coach of Morgan State, I guess he has a lot of interviews and people want to talk to him. And they're bringing new fresh blood into Morgan State, so we'll talk to him down the road. But we'll bring in this guy, former Toronto Blue Jay and former Met, who won a CAA baseball championship this past weekend down in Eon University, beating Northeastern. Was bringing in FRANKCATALANOTTO with us. Hey, Frank, how you doing?
Good, guys. How's it going?
Thanks for coming back on the program. Glad to have you back on, and congratulations on winning the CAA this past weekend. It must have been really awesome to win coach a championship team.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. My players played awesome. We had 3 walk-off wins and another win that we scored in the 10th inning, top of the 10th inning. So it was really exciting.
Yeah, talk about these comebacks. It seems like you guys are you're not out of this game. It seems like you just went from Major League Baseball with the teams that you played in to college, and you guys are you're sitting there going, I've seen this before. We can come back and win ball games. It's like now you're the coach.
Exactly. These guys, they just have a belief. They never feel like they're out of a game. They just keep fighting, and it's been fun to watch. They just keep battling, and it's been nice to have these walk-off wins.
George, you got a question for Frank?
Coach, I was going to say, we had Coach Reed on earlier from CoppinState, and, his program, they went and won the MEAC this past weekend. And I said, Cinderella dances in basketball. Cinderella can dance just as well in baseball.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm telling my guys, baseball's a funny game. Anything can happen. And if you get good pitching and timely hitting, you could beat anybody. So we're going in, we're a confident group. We're going in, expecting to win some baseball games.
Yeah. Let's talk about this matchup against North Carolina. This is not the NCAA tournament for basketball. This is the NCAA for baseball. So you guys have never played them before. So what's the scouting report? You had some guy named Honeycutt who could just went 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases. So that's pretty good for a college kid. But I thought that's normal for a college kid to do 20-20.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, I haven't done much scouting. I'm doing all my scouting, my video stuff tomorrow. But I looked at their statistics, their numbers. I saw Honeycutt. I saw a few others, and they've got some good stats. I mean, guys that could really hit the ball out of the ballpark, guys with high averages. So it's not going to be easy. But so I'm looking forward to watching some video tomorrow, getting a game plan. I know my pitching coach started watching some video today just to get a game plan for the pitchers. But it's not going to be easy. They really, they can drive the ball.
And you guys could do the same thing. You guys, the last 2 games of the CAA championship, you let off you had a leadoff home run, where in the top of the second, you took the lead with a 2-run homer. It seemed like that ball was jumping out of that ballpark.
Yeah, it was. The wind was blowing out to left field, and we hit a few balls that way that got out of the ballpark, a few that were off the top of the wall. So it seems like we're coming around offensively at the right time. The guys are really starting to swing the bats well. So, like I said, it couldn't have come at a better time.
And for you, as a coach, this time last year, you became the head coach of Hofstra, because I know what's his name stepped down, our good friend we had on our program for a long time, and he's doing a lot of other things. But just talk about your whole year. This time last year, you're like, okay, I'm the head coach of Hofstra baseball. My goal is to win a championship. Check, got that done. And now it's like, let's go to North Carolina and take on a Power 5 school and knock them off.
Yeah, it's been a great ride so far. I had to come in and myself and my coaching staff had to kind of help change the culture, make them believe that they could win every time they stepped on the field. And it was a little bit of a process in the fall doing that and kind of getting them on the same page and having them pull from the same side of the rope and all of that. But, once we started rolling and once these guys once they bought in and realized that the way that we were teaching them, whether it be their batting practice or fielding techniques, things like that, they saw that they were having some success and they were making progress. And like I said, they all bought in and we were able to kind of hit the ground running, especially we're on a 9-game winning streak right now. And, the confidence level is so high right now. Everyone just really believes that we'll win every game we play.
Yeah. Adam, you got a question for Frank?
First of all, I think Hofstra joined 6 other New York teams in the NCAA baseball regional. I think it's the most teams from one state.
Wow. Is that right? I did not
I think
know.
so. I think
Long
I read
Island
that.
University, the same, from Long Island. So it's pretty cool. Hempstead, Long Island, you got more baseball on Long Island going to represent the state of New York this week. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And the 2 other teams that are in the Chapel Hill Regional, you have the A10 champion VCU Rams, and then you have a powerhouse SEC team in the Georgia Bulldogs. Have you had a chance to look at any statistics from the Rams and Bulldogs yet?
I've looked at statistics, haven't watched the video yet. But again, these guys are no slouches. I mean, they put up some really good numbers. It's not going to be, an easy task to go in there and knock these guys off. But again, we're ready for the challenge and, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. Frank, I asked Coach Reed this question, the same question I'm going to ask you. In game 1, you're looking to win this game against North Carolina and to be 1-0 and send North Carolina down to the losers bracket, knowing that, one more game, they're done and, and their season's over and they'll start playing golf after this weekend. But, what is your mindset as setting the pitching staff going, okay, I want to go with my ace, but I really don't want to, ruin him just in case I might need him for game 3, knowing this might be a double elimination.
Yeah, he's a tough kid, and he came back on short rest in the CAA championship. I'm not concerned about that. My ace is going to go the first game. He's been pitching great, throwing strikes, and if we need him game 3, I know he's going to be ready for me.
Yeah. George, you got a question for Frank, our statistician?
I wanted to get the mute button first.
You do it all the time. Go ahead.
So I actually asked the same question to Coach Reed as well. What do? You said you're on a 9-game winning streak, and you can kind of get yourself ahead of the game, right? And be looking past people. You don't want to look past people, but it can happen. How do you keep them mentally grounded and prepared to go into the tournament?
Yeah, this group won't look past anyone because they're focused on the task at hand. We're a team that plays inning by inning, pitch by pitch, and I think that's the best way to look at it. I mean, and I remind them, the coaches remind them that, hey, we got to grind it out every single inning, every single at bat to make sure we're trying to get some add-on runs. I think it's easy for guys for teams to look past, certain teams. You think, hey, all right, we'll get the first one. Let's worry about the second one. But it's important to just kind of break it down and remind these kids that, you have to focus on the task at hand.
Yeah. So how's the coverage going with you guys? How's did Newsday talk to you guys? I know I saw you got something on ABC 7 up there in New York tonight. How's the media coverage, and are they so excited that there's Hofstra baseball and finally made it to the postseason?
Yeah, media coverage has been great. I know I've got a bunch of things lined up tomorrow as well, but today I was very busy. And it's great. It's great for the baseball program here at Hofstra because, we don't get a lot of attention. So it's nice to get that attention right now.
That's great. Well, let me let you go because I know you're a busy guy and you want to get some rest because I know tomorrow you have a lot of practice and media stuff, and then you got to head on down to Chapel Hill. But we'll be rooting for you and joining. We love the CAA, and hopefully you guys make the carry that seal for that league and keep it going, and send those Tar Heels packing.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
All right, Frank. Thanks, buddy.
Good luck, Coach.
Good
luck, Coach.
All right, that's our good friend Frank Catalano, who former New York Met. So it's a great year to be a Met right now.
Yeah, it is, Chris. It is.
Adam, you're just trying to come back and cover yourself after taking a shot at the loss there.
Yeah.
No, it's not like it's hard.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
You're on the hot seat, Adam.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. Hey. I'm like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Because I'm in the hot seat, and then I don't know who Regis Philbin would be. I guess you, Chris. I mean, what?
That's true. Let's bring this gentleman. He was a guest on our show beginning of the year when Liberty University went down to Gainesville and told the Gators, see ya, after a good 2 out of 3 beating the, at that time, top 5 Gator team. Now he's in the regional, and he's going back to Gainesville to take on Oklahoma this weekend. So let's bring in Coach ScottJackson with us. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
What's up, guys? Here we are, full circle, man. How about that?
Exactly. It's pretty funny. I was just thinking about that. When we talked to you at the beginning of the year when I was on Twitter watching you guys playing Florida, and I'm like, oh, my God, you knocked off Florida. And now you're going back down to Florida to take on in this Gainesville Regionals. But you don't play Florida the first game. You play Oklahoma. So it's going to be a little more challenging. But Big 12 versus Atlantic Sun. So what is your game plan to take on a team like Oklahoma?
Well, we're still learning, their roster and their team. And, we have a lot of access to videos. So we're trying to put together our game plan. Look, first of all, they're good. I mean, holy cow, they're good. And not only are they good, they're really playing well. I mean, they're hot. They just ran through the Big 12 tournament undefeated. So, it's the NCAA tournament, man. It's not going to be easy. We've got our work cut out for us, but I'm excited for our players. I think, we're kind of the same. We didn't play well in that championship game, but we really swung the bats down there, in the conference tournament, and we're going to pitch. So, those things are in place for us, and I'm looking forward to getting down there, man. It's going to be great.
So, George, you got a question for Coach Scott?
George, you're muted.
Yeah, you muted again. We got to do some coin thing here. Every time he mutes himself, we should donate something to a charity.
I don't do this in my work meetings, by the way.
Okay. Go ahead.
So, Coach, how do you get everyone ready for the next step? How do you keep them grounded?
Well, we're fortunate. We've got a roster with a bunch of guys that have played in the NCAA tournament. We went to Knoxville last year, and we played well against Tennessee. We didn't come out of there, and win the regional by any means. But, I just think when you have experienced players and they've been through it, I don't have to say much as a coach. You just, you let them play. I mean, it's the same game. And I think the heart rate's a little bit lower for some of our older players. I mean, we've got we've got three players in our program that no, it's more than that. It's 4 or 5 that have been to 3 straight regionals. So they know what it takes, and they know what the environment's going to be like. And we've been to a regional in an SEC ballpark. So, I think the good part for us is you can kind of take some of that and just set it aside. It's not nearly like being in your first one on the road. So, there's some things that are in our favor. At the end of the day, we do have 2 freshman position players that have never played the NCAA tournament. So we've got a little bit of everything. But, at the end of the day, man, you got to find a way to get some momentum early in the game, and you've got to try to maintain that. I mean, we did that in 19 in Chapel Hill. We hit a 3-run jack, against Tennessee right out of the gate, and that seemed to settle everybody in, and we played really, really well in that first game. And, so I think that's kind of what it takes. I don't know that I can say anything, or I can, prepare my guys, for the moment, or, really do anything different. I mean, that's the beauty of baseball, right? Is, it's not like we're playing in the Cotton Bowl or the Sugar Bowl or something. I mean, you do this every day. I mean, it's part of what we do. It's just baseball, you play every day. And so if our kids can, just continue to have that mindset of, just because it's the NCAA tournament, it's the same game we've played since we were, 8 years old. And if we can just keep that mindset of keeping it simple and just going out there and enjoying the game, it takes the moment and makes it nearly not quite as big as sometimes kids make it.
And plus, it's your 3rd straight season in the regionals. So your guys are basically old hat, if you want to say it. But you got some players who are brand new, and you've been there before. It's not like you haven't been there in 15 years and you don't know what you're expecting of your kids. You know what your kids, some of them are still there from last year, or like you said, where you're in a couple of years before that. So they're going to help the younger guys, saying, hey, this is what we do, and we're going to do what we can.
And it's cool, man. Like I got here 6 years ago, and I talked about it, and we scheduled for it, and I didn't know, I didn't know we were going to go 7-3 against the ACC and beat South Carolina on opening day in 2019. I didn't know that was, in the cards for us, but now it's really cool. It's become an expectation to win these midweek ACC games. And then it's become an expectation in our program to where if we don't get in the NCAA tournament, then the it's not good. And that's pretty neat as a coach, just to kind of see where we were when we got here. And now, the kids that expect to go to the regionals every year and find ourselves. I mean, we need to win one of these things, man. We need to get in the super, and, it's hard, but you get in a super and anything can happen. It's a weekend series and you're in Omaha. So, it's going to be a challenge. I mean, it's a really, really tough regional. I mean, we haven't even mentioned Central Michigan, and good grief, they've won a lot of games over the last 3 years. So we'll take it one pitch at a time. Yeah, we'll take it one pitch at a time. Yeah, they're really good. I mean, what Jordan's done there in 3 years. I mean, first of all, weather is Central Michigan. It's in a tough part of the country. I mean, there's a lot of things that they can use as an excuse, and he clearly hasn't. And the expectation level in that program's similar to what ours is.
Yeah. And also, we had Coach Frank on from Hofstra a couple minutes ago, and you played North Carolina twice this year. How good is that Honeycutt kid? How good is he at the plate, and how good is he in the field?
I mean, he's a first-round pick. I mean, I've been in that league. I've seen what first-rounders as freshmen look like in the ACC, and this kid's got it. I mean, he's homered in like 11 of his last 15 games or 12 of his last 6. I mean, who does that, right, as a freshman, let alone in the postseason and down the stretch? I mean, look, those guys are good friends of mine at North Carolina, and they're 16-2 since they played us, going into their exam break. And it's really been neat to watch them, kind of flip their season, and they think they're not going to lose right now. And so I'm excited for them. I'm thankful we're not in their regional. That was bad in 19 when you're in the same regional as your friends, and you want to pull for them, and you're thinking, well, if I pull for them, that means we don't advance. So it's going to be fun to watch them hopefully win that and have a chance to go to Stillwater for a super.
That's true. George, you got one last question for Coach Scott before we let him go?
I was going to say, there's the whole season, right? That you're all prepared for your plan to get to this point. Coach, you've said all the right things. I know the Notre Dame baseball coach, his mindset's the same way. You just got to play one inning at a time, one pitch at a time, and you played all season for this. There's nothing. The work's been done. Now you're going and you're trying to finish.
Yeah, you're right. It sounds so cliche to say that one pitch at a time, one inning at a time, but it's just so true. I mean, you can't let one pitch affect another. We all know what's at stake here. I mean, let's be honest. We talked about that with our team from the last regular season weekend when we all knew that all we had to do was win the series and we win our division. You go to the conference tournament. Hey, all you got to do is get to the semifinals and win 2 games and you're conference champs. Now you're going to a region. So it really just kind of becomes part of how you approach the game. And the teams that do well, they literally, I think that's how they approach the game. Like, hey, one pitch, one inning. And then if there's some adversity, you just find a way to kind of respond to that. And it might just be one run. That you answer your opponent and it makes it 3-1 and at least you stay in the game. And it's such a game of momentum. And again, it sounds so simple. It's a lot easier to do or a lot harder to do than it is to sit here and talk about it. But I like our kids. I like our chances. I mean, I really think the experience factor that we have playing in the regionals and having an older team really helps us. And so we'll see what happens. Lord willing, we get down there and make some noise, and then it gets real fun if we can get to Blacksburg in a super. Who knows what happens.
Hey, it's great for the Commonwealth of Virginia. You guys, Virginia Tech and Virginia. It's big.
And VCU. There's
really
there's
baseball.
There's 4 teams from our state again, and I feel like maybe Virginia doesn't quite get the recognition or they're thought of maybe like some of the Carolinas or even Georgia or the state of Florida, but it's a good baseball area and I'm proud to be part of it.
Yeah. And I love your powder blue uniforms. It looks like the old Cardinals.
Yeah, no, that was pretty cool. Our players, they really wanted those. I'm not really into the flash and the swag, but from a recruiting standpoint, it helped. And then we had that uniform reveal thing that kind of went viral, and that's been a big part of our season too. It's been a lot of exposure and it's helped our brand. And, I'm like I said, I'm not really into that, but you kind of have to be in this day and age.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old Cardinals when I was a kid growing up. I remember those powder blue uniforms. The Phillies had the powder blues, and it's like ugh. I mean, like, wow, this is flashback 80s right now.
Yeah, it makes me think of like Keith Hernandez, Willie McGee, those guys. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Exactly. And you're like, is Keith Hernandez showing up?
And if you said Keith Hernandez or Willie McGee around any of my players, they'd have no idea what you're talking about.
They don't know anybody. Yeah. I remember Willie McGee with his batting stance. It's like the weirdest batting stance, but he still got batting title in both leagues. So come on now.
No doubt. No doubt.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, and we've been a fan of you guys all year long. I've been watching from afar, and good luck this week down in Gainesville, and maybe we have a nice rematch this weekend between the Gators and Liberty. So, this is you guys took care of them early in the year, and maybe you could take care of the Gators again for us.
Well, Lord willing, we can, and I can't thank you guys enough. I mean, anytime we get a chance to be on here and talk about our program, it helps, and for you guys to appreciate college baseball, I can't say enough, and thank you guys so much.
Yeah, I could have done a 3-hour show tonight, but I couldn't get anybody else on. Yeah, I was like, that's not like college baseball. I was like rolling yesterday, looking at the selection show. I got who could I get on? Come on, I'm at work going. Looking at my phone going, I should not be looking at my phone. I should be working. But, I'm working on something else. Yeah. So, have a safe trip down to Gainesville, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Coach. All right, see you.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck, Coach.
All right, that's Coach ScottJackson on the program. I do need to, before we go, George, I do need to say something about this time last week, we were on the show, and there was something major happened in Texas. We with the situation we had in Texas with the school shooting.
Yep.
Yeah. I found a very good video from some guy named Steve Kerr from Golden State.
Oh,
yeah, and this is something it needs to be addressed. And I'm sorry, we're not trying to be political here, but I have people who are my niece is 6 years old. Yeah, she's gonna, and my nephew is 2. You know, this could happen to us anytime, and this stuff needs to stop. You know,
thank you.
You know, and I'm not trying to be political, and I know people might have a question about why we're doing this at the end. It needs to be addressed because sports does things to help people, right, George?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why we have sports. Sports help people, and I think what Steve Kerr did was very, very cool. And let me pull this up here. And this is from the NBA, but here it is, Steve Kerr.
Last 6 hours. We're going to start the same way tonight. Any basketball questions don't matter. Since we left shoot around, 14 children were killed 400 miles from here, and a teacher. And in the last 10 days, we've had elderly Black people killed in a supermarket in Buffalo. We've had Asian churchgoers killed in Southern California, and now we have children murdered at school. When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of I'm sorry. I'm tired of the moments of enough. There's 50 senators right now who refuse to vote on H.R. 8, which is a background check rule that the House passed a couple of years ago. It's been sitting there for 2 years. And there's a reason they won't vote on it, to hold on to power. So I ask you, Mitch McConnell, I ask all of you senators who refuse to do anything about the violence and school shootings and supermarket shootings, I ask you, are you going to put your own desire for power ahead of the lives of our children and our elderly and our churchgoers? Because that's what it looks like. It's what we do every week. So I'm fed up. I've had enough. We're going to play the game tonight, but I want every person here, every person listening to this to think about your own child or grandchild or mother or father or sister, brother. How would you feel if this happened to you today? We can't get numb to this. We can't sit here and just read about it and go, well, let's have a moment of silence. Yeah, go Dubs, Come on, Mavs, let's go. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go play a basketball game. And 50 senators in Washington are going to hold us hostage. Do you realize that 90% of Americans, regardless of political party, want background check, universal background check? 90% of us, we are being held hostage by 50 senators in Washington who refuse to even put it to a vote, despite what we, the American people, want. They won't vote on it because they want to hold on to their own power. It's pathetic. I've had enough.
I totally understand him.
I'm amen to everything he said. Amen to everything he said.
Yeah. What do you think, George? I think it's got to stop because, like I said, it could be Sophia. It could be Noah. It could be your nephew.
It could be my nephew, yeah.
Yeah, it could be your kids. It could be anybody. Adam, this could be some friends that have kids.
So
you got to stop.
So Chris, Sandy Hook happened when I lived back in Connecticut.
Yeah, talk about that real quick.
We knew Sandy Hook happened back in December of 2012, something like that.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was a bad day. I was actually coming home from a business trip, and I knew, I was of course automatically afraid for my daughter in Wethersfield, but that's just a parental instinct type of thing.
Right.
The sick part of this is I don't know. It's one of those hot button issues, and I don't know how a guy has the kind of guns that he has, drives the kind of car that he does, okay, when he doesn't really have the way to fit the means, okay, and it's wrong. I mean, I'll tell you, it's wrong.
Right.
Okay. But the flip side of all of this is it's tough, Chris. I still say there's more bad guys than good guys that own guns.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
The responsible gun owner, like what happened in Sandy Hook. The mother had the right things in place. Unfortunately, the kid knew the combinations in the locker, to take the guns out. Okay. There's got to be better safeguards. Okay. There's got to be better ways for this type of control. And I'll be honest with you, Chris, background checks won't work either. You want to know why?
Why?
Because you could buy a gun when you're completely sane and pass your background check, and then what happens a couple years down the road after your background check and someone goes and does the same thing? So now the problem becomes, what is the foolproof way?
Right.
Okay. Background checks is just a small portion of it. Okay. But the flip side of this is it's just not a background check that's a solution.
No. And I feel like ever since the Brady bill left, that's where the problem started, because we had that Brady bill in place that, to stop selling assault rifles. And somebody in, Washington decided to let it relapse. And now you see every city, every town, every place is having a bad. They just had another one in Oklahoma. Yeah. It's like what do you got to do?
But Chris, it's not all about the assault weapons, Chris. I mean, in South Bend, there's shootings every day. They're not using assault weapons. They're out there using 9mm and stuff like that.
And ghost guns. Who they make them from the computer.
Chris, that's even worse.
Yeah. Like how do you? Who's selling the program?
Hollywood beauticizes the ghost gun. Okay, it wasn't a thing. Did you realize when the first time a ghost gun was probably ever even talked about?
When?
I think it was in the Line of Duty.
Okay.
That guy used a ghost gun. He had a gun made out of composite. It was composite material. It was drilled out and wasn't manufactured the same way as it is today. It had 2 springs, okay, and he got that stuff past security because they knew that he'd be checking things, and he had the bullets in the pen.
Right.
So it's hard to say what's right and what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish people that were in a position to do something more about it, instead of just, what Steve Kerr said was not wrong, but he's got to do something about it.
Yeah.
And more people need to do something about it. Okay.
I think we got to play that video to get people to understand it, because sports do help people get things accomplished. Some of them do.
But Chris, it's all talk until someone actually goes in front of somebody else and gets something done. I've yet to see
something's going to get done.
Right. I agree. Yeah. I just had to put that video out.
And it's not wrong. But I guess I'm just tired of people saying these things, sitting behind a keyboard, not saying us, but guys like Steve Kerr. Go to Washington. Start a movement. Start something that's going to do change.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know. That's why I'm running for the Board of Education. I'm not going to go to the Board of Ed meetings and complain about what's being going on. I got to put some skin in the game, and I got to go be part of the change.
Right.
Like here in Baltimore, we have people dying every day in Baltimore. Last 6 years in Baltimore, for a whole year, we've had over 300 homicides.
Wow. Pull up the stats. Pull up the stats for South Bend. Okay. When you have a chance, go look at this.
Baltimore is now like
South Bend
Baltimore is now
is
like in the
horrible.
top 3 most deadly cities in the United States, behind Chicago and Detroit.
Wow.
South
Wow.
Bend's on that list.
Right.
So
let's just wrap it up here, because it's been a great almost 3 hours, and we appreciate George for being on that long. I know he's ready for bed. I can tell he's falling asleep. And George and Adam has to get up for 6 a.m. At Publix, probably.
Well, tomorrow I have to be at work at noontime.
Oh, that's good.
I'm hungry, and so I want to go and go catch some of the hockey game, even though see how the Avalanche doing.
Let's do next Tuesday night at 7. Let's do it again at 7.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That'll work for better.
Cool.
And we'll wrap up the sports world, and then we'll put see what's going on, and we'll take a break for a couple weeks until we get back to football. So folks, like we said, this is not a political statement or anything, but it's got to stop, and we got to find people who are like George, myself, and Adam, and Steve, and everybody. It could happen again tomorrow. So
my biggest fear, Chris, is things. But Chris, the flip side of all that too, there was failures on the schools, on the school side as well.
Yeah,
the guy should not even been in there to start. So people can look at it from one side. There's, in my line of business, Chris, there's more than one root cause.
Right.
So if he couldn't if he wasn't allowed to get into the school, it doesn't happen.
No. Or if the cops did their job and get it done before an hour later.
More than one root cause, Chris.
Yeah, what's that saying that your mom, would have, could have, should have?
Yep.
And Chris, and like something I posted, the one thing that this country does a poor job of is helping our mentally ill.
Thank you.
We don't do enough, and I'm not going to take the crap from people saying, well, you don't hear about mental issues over in England or wherever. You know what? We have to deal with our place.
Right.
If you see there's a problem, you deal with it. And what's the first place that every freaking place cuts in a budget first? They cut the mental health.
Right.
Okay? They keep cutting it out, making it less and less and less. Okay? Exactly. We need to start taking care of our own people. We send money overseas to help people fight a war like Ukraine. Okay? You got to help your people at home first.
Right.
Thank you. I'll agree with that.
Well, I do want to say one more thing before we say goodnight to everybody. Say goodnight to your kids. Give them a kiss. Say, I love you.
Absolutely.
Whatever you do. Call your niece. Call your nephew. I know they're in bed right now, but, I'm probably going to give them a call tomorrow to see how they're doing. Make sure you kiss the ones you care about, because you never know. And they might not be here tomorrow, and you feel really crappy that you didn't say goodnight to them, and I love you and all that stuff. So
yep,
that's my one thing. So, folks, see you tomorrow. See you next Tuesday. Have a great night.
Good night.
Night.